gotta leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bunchu, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like the Brown James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Reviews not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I got a shout out
Started
to
off with a
Pollak.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, yo, set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in shoes. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. Had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain. GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below and go smash that like, repost, and bookmark up top on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here, and does us a solid. You'll also find the video feed on X, as well as Abstract pinned up there as well. Best GMers drop those GMs everywhere, and we greatly appreciate it. As always, I'm Cap, my co-host Steve. Never need financial advice on the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins exceptionally risky, except for right now, especially the AI sector is mooning. But never put any money in. You can't afford to lose. And know that Steve and I likely hold tokens we talk about from time to time. We're also not financial advisors, certainly not yours. So please don't join us for that. Just some fun information and education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM, doing well. Lots of GMs across the board. People are excited. Appreciate y'all out there. Big Bear, Von Frunten, Diablito, Board Osaka across all the different chats. Another great day for Coffee with Captain. Indeed. Machiavelli, Hizzy, Mesh. Thank God Abstract is working. I started my Abstract chat because we were kind of scrambling right before the show. Cap's like, "Your Abstract this morning." I was like, "Ooh, do not have it up." So then I restarted my Abstract. I started it and then accidentally hit stop live stream, start live stream right after. But apparently that did not affect it. So that's good. Thomas, Teacher Katie, again, Machiavelli over there, Von Frunten, the triple. Mr. Baywatch in the house. Love me some Mr. Baywatch. Good to see him out there. GM to you this morning. Be epic, and all our friends out there on the X space, which again, as I'm scrambling, the other thing I did that was this morning, you might have missed it because you might have just been getting ready or doing something else for the show. I realized that I took a call with my headphones yesterday. and like my wired headphones and left them upstairs. So during the intro, I put down these headphones, sprinted up, got my wired headphones, sprinted down, and plugged them in. So we are all set there. GM to those in the X chat as well. Dobbins, Machiavelli across all of them. Watch to GM, probably crushing some deadlifts as we speak. Riz, Brian, Shallow, Beanie, Board Osaka, Payne, Dort, Dwayne, Joey Vowles, Digital Dad, Mel, of course, Clay, Ark Invest, screenwriter Dave Kapow, all of our good friends. Form Chaos, good to see you. Curtis, Micro, Kazi, Natty out there, Beasting, Mike C, Big Bear, multi-GMer, Mesh multi-GMer, Brick It All, Diablito, multi-GMer as well. So, look, I will tell you what, good morning, I think this morning for a lot of things. Green numbers always make people feel good. Something out there for everyone. GMB Epic as well. Something out there for everyone. Definitely a lot to discuss. I'm gonna like, I was thinking a lot of directions on cold open here as we get this thing warmed up. Again, give us a like, a retweet, a comment to the room. As mentioned, we don't really sell anything to y'all, but we love those likes, those retweets, and those comments. So help us out. Be epic. I'll hit on the content coin. My thesis has not changed, but I'll hit on the content coin thing shortly. As I now have to knock at least one punk off the list who was very kind to me yesterday as we got through that. But that'll be a whole story we'll get into here in a little bit. Cap, the biggest thing that X needs to solve for me, and this is probably just a problem that not everybody has to deal with, is DMs. I can't keep them.
It's coming. You heard this, right?
I heard them say there's like a messaging app they were approaching, but I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work. Like, they need to solve this.
Yeah, it's broken. I've talked about it on the show multiple times, just leaving all the group chats and except for a few that I really want, because I miss so much stuff that I don't want to miss. I miss DMs. I don't want to miss. Like, when I say it is unmanageable, it's unmanageable for a human. I've never been great at that. It's not been a strength of mine anyways. And I don't know. There's something, it's a me problem because I feel guilty if I leave a group chat. Someone adds me to a group chat. I'm like, oh, these are cool people. I like these people. I like this community. Get rid of the Chris just left the group chat. Like, stop making me feel bad for leaving. And so I end up not leaving these group chats. I don't want to offend anyone. It's not them. It's me. I can't manage it. And it's overwhelming. Like, I haven't added it up, but I bet I'm in well over 100 group chats that are like, not all of them post every day, but some of them post multiple times. And like, someone could send me a DM right now. I'm probably not, unless I have my DMs open during the show, I'm probably not going to see it, because when I get out of the show, the first 25 messages are all group chat conversations.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it, because I actually will say the reason, the impetus for this whole thing is...
If you ever sent me a DM and I'm not responding, tag me in the comments during the show. I'm not intentionally ignoring anyone. If I'm not got back to you, tag me here. I show up, you know where I'm going to be, 8 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, every single day, barring, almost today though, Steve, real quick, digression during the cold open. You ever get vitamin sick?
Not since college.
Almost had to call in a pinch hitter this morning. I said I'm ramping up my workouts. I bumped that 20, 30 minutes up. I was in the gym for about an hour and 20 this morning, feeling good. And I also am ramping up like my supplement intake and just getting after 90 days, putting my head down and just going harder than most people ever will in their life. It's a 90-day sprint for me. I've done it a few times before, and I can't sustain it forever, but I can do it for 90 days. Well, long story short, got back from the gym today, poured my coffee, put a little extra stuff in the coffee that isn't uncommon for me, but it was maybe a little more than I normally do, and I didn't blend it. I just stirred it up a little bit, and the combination of whatever I had this morning, I took my dog for a walk and I came back and I was like scream puking for, I don't know, maybe like a half dozen scream pukes, maybe 10. It was gnarly. I was this like 30 minutes ago. I was like pale as, I know I'm pasty anyways, but I was pale as my Apes shirt or spacesuit like 30 minutes ago. And I thought, like, man, I might have to go off video this morning. It was like scream puking, sweating. If you've never been vitamin sick, I don't wish it on anyone. It's not, it is not enjoyable, but I'm fortunately the good news is it was a half hour ago and I had to get it out and we're ready to rock. We'll dial it back a little bit tomorrow.
I actually most definitely. I went years without taking a multivitamin when I should have, because I never got like my
That's like the worst vitamin sick too. If you take a multivitamin, it gets you like, ugh.
yeah, and that was so my look, there's a lot of things that my parents weren't super educated on. They weren't super educated on finance. Oh yeah, scream puking is very real. I've used
You know
that
exactly what I'm
before,
talking
too.
about though.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you can puke and you can scream puke, and the vitamin sickness. And the other time I like a core memory of scream puking of mine was the last time I ate Burger King in the actually it was the early 2000s. I got food poisoning off a chicken sandwich, and I've never been back due to a night of scream puking.
Man, and that's an elite chicken sandwich too.
It is.
But
Or
no,
was.
yeah, I actually, not surprising to anybody who's met me with, like, not just on this show, but if you met me in person with the volume of my voice, the only puking I do is scream puking, which is why if I am sick, everybody knows it. I don't puke very often. It's food poisoning. I'm not a person who drinks to the point of ever getting sick. Like, generally speaking, it's only happened a handful of times to me in my life. But I have had that multivitamin experience that you're talking about. And I didn't take, my parents weren't super educated on finance nor health growing up. So I was never given like the decree to work out when I was younger. I was never given the decree to like be smart with my money when I was younger. And I woke up, or I took multivitamins, I mean, in college. And at one point it caused me to vomit, like, and then I was like, okay, probably unrelated. And then a second time, then a third time. I didn't take multivitamins again until I was probably in like my late 20s at least, because I was like, nope, this just isn't for me. It just doesn't react well. And now I should bring them to the show one day for show and tell. Now I have like 14 pills I take in the morning and like 10 pills I take in the afternoon or something like that. Like, I actually have like an entire AM and PM set of pills that I take. So it is yeah, it's pretty legit. But what I was gonna say about the DMs though is I agree, man. I'm in a million group chats. I had, Aaron Haber sent me a DM. He has some things going on. He was like, hey, you have any time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I just got to it because it's so buried this morning when I was finally looking through things. So I'm like, hey, if you have time to pop up, great. Doing a comedy show today. He's got some other things going on. But I feel bad because I would want to see that.
I'm assuming I probably have the same one then. So my apologies, Aaron. I hope you're out there, because they've got their. I just saw someone else put it on the time that they've got their dolls mint today. So yeah, I'm guessing probably reach out to both of us. Yeah, you're welcome to join us if you can. I'm not sure if Jed's out there today as well, but he said he's going to swing by. He might pop up for a few minutes, and I know we got Bunchu today, so it could be a busy morning. But yeah, and Mel in chat says maybe something to do with iron in the multivitamins. I don't know. I've never researched it, and Saucy Saucier says the extra oil butter can do that. I didn't even do the oil butter this morning. I just put some cinnamon and ginger in there. I think it was combo with pre-workout, and I took some beet powder and other stuff. Just too much this morning, I'm guessing. Too much on an empty stomach.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that might be what it is. I don't know, but like now it's like I'm very, very like like, again, this is like, youth is wasted on the young, I think is like the phrase that sometimes people say. It's like I think about like how, I didn't start stretching till I was 40, makes a difference. I didn't start taking multivitamins until I was, in my late 20s, and I didn't start taking all the vitamins until the past like year and a half. And it's like just, kills me to think like how bad I've been about it. But no, I mean, the DM thing, it's like seeing that when I mentioned the Aaron Haber thing. But your point about the group chats, it's like examples. Like, and this is not a knock, but I'll give an example because I don't mind giving it. It's like, we had Mike and Patrick on the show from Bitcoin Eternals. Friend, like, good guy. I like Mike. I know he had a little bit of a crash out on the timeline that people have pointed out, but like, good things. From
I missed the crash out.
Yeah. Oh, I was checking it out. I feel bad for him. He had I think it's like you didn't sell out, and then some people. I actually got kind of annoyed because people were acting like it was grifty and I don't look. I mean, they try to create something. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But I mentioned this before. I know people who specifically got on their allow list, were excited about it, commented about being excited about it. Then after it didn't sell out, we're clowning it a little bit.
That's shitty.
And I thought that was shitty.
Man. This space will eat people up, and like it's tough. It is just really tough, especially when the minute you become an NFT founder. Like, buckle up. Your days of making everyone happy are over.
Yeah, it's like, dude put something out there. He was hoping to get a build a community, and he, spent all this time in the trenches for years hoping top Bitcoin spaces. But in any case, I'm in a group chat for that. I like them. I don't need to be in that group chat, but if I leave,
that's another one I'm in, and I've never said a thing. I don't even know if I've ever opened the chat, but same thing. I like them. I said and leave, but it's like that's perfect example of that. That like, yeah, that is a snapshot of my DMs right now. That's one, and it's one that'll probably be in that top 20 after the show, because someone like, I don't know if it's just, that's a great example. One that I like the people, no issues with them whatsoever. Probably a good group chat. I'm in way too many, and the UI sucks.
Mint pad artists on ApeChain. Look, I support mint pad artists on ApeChain. I push them. I want them to, but it's like if I leave there, it's like, look at this asshole who doesn't support artists. It's just, and I know I'm overthinking it, and people forget about it in a while, but it's like, maybe I'll just do this move, because I did this with Discords recently, where it's like I
feel way worse about leaving a group chat than I do a Discord. I don't even think twice about leaving it,
because it says you left to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not right in front of everyone. It's just hidden in another channel somewhere.
Like, the best case scenario for you when you leave a group chat to not look like an asshole who's like, it's like you can't just Irish goodbye, which, by the way, that's what I used to do in college when I left parties. That's Same. What I do. I can't do it with like when I go with my kids and their friends and stuff, but it's cool because everybody's got kids and they're like, fuck it, we're all ready to get to sleep. But no, man, it's tough. Like, again, another example. And again, this is like, people are going to get offended, and maybe this gives me the ability to leave them. OG Pepe coin. I think Pepe coin's cool. It's a cool community. I don't even hold any anymore. So it's like, it had a rip. I sold. Appreciate that. No shade at them. I think it's a great community. But it's like, if I start leaving these things, which I probably will, people might get upset at me, but I probably just need to do it, because
the problem is, here's why I also haven't, is I'll get added in 2 more this week. And it's just it's like I don't know, like we probably just need to stop bitching about it, go through, leave all the group chats minus a few, and then every time we get added, just instantly. You should have to approve getting added to a group chat. You shouldn't just be able to get blindly added to a group chat. Is this a setting I don't know about?
Yeah, that's the answer. No, that is the answer.
Setting on Telegram, I guess you can charge for messages if you've not messaged them first, or if they're not in your contacts. So like it basically prevents spam messages. You can charge $1,000 to message me, or $100. I don't know. It's TON token, I think. But do that. Like you shouldn't just be able to throw whoever you want in a group chat.
Well, like, I get added to a lot. Plus, I get a lot of DMs in general. I remember it was like 2 years ago or something. I was being interviewed on some space, like or maybe I was just hanging out in a space. I don't know. Like, I was just hanging, and I like, somebody was like, I was like, yeah, DM. Sorry if you sent it. Like, I'm trying to get to it. And I remember the person who like was like hosting was like, well, how many DMs do you get a day? I'm like, 200, 300, I don't know. And they were like, oh, and I'm like, is that a lot? I don't know. Is that a lot? They're like, yeah, like, we're talking like, 4 or 5 DMs a day. Could you imagine getting 4 or 5 DMs a day? And it's not meant to be like, oh, I'm so important to people. It's just,
no, I'm not that popular. I'm not that important. It's just, I'm in over 100 group chats. That's the problem.
100 group chats.
And when I get that, when I get those 4 or 6 DMs a day, which that's probably accurate, I rarely see them.
I'm in one that
shout out to the Epic for the tag in the abstract chat. I missed a couple DMs from him weeks ago. The Brown. What do I think about the Browns draft? They salvaged their draft. We're not gonna go into a draft dissertation this morning, but I still would have loved to see them draft Hunter or get more for the haul. But I actually really like what they did with the rest of the draft. I think Judkins is going to be a stud. I think Judkins and Samson could be their version of Gibbs and Demont, but inverted. And yeah, I think they're set up well to have a fun but losing season. And then, they should come out of next year's draft. Like the fan base should be ready for them to make a run in 2026. Like really compete to go to the playoffs in 2026 if they don't screw up next year's draft. Also, I see Shador, like, the PR team has turned it around. He was speaking at a kid's school in Cleveland yesterday. He's doing, lunges up steep hills in Cleveland.
I'm just so shocked how there was a camera there to capture him doing the lunges up the hill in Cleveland. What a coincidence that he was doing hills in Cleveland and the camera caught it. Wow, are we lucky?
Very staged, but I hey, he didn't have to go speak at a school in Cleveland yesterday. Like I respect it. Like I know it's probably forced or he's being demanded by his PR agent. You have to do this. You got to redeem you can't just not do this now. He still doesn't have to do it. Like the kid, he's a multimillionaire. He doesn't have to do any of this. He could be done with football and he's set for the rest of his life. So I respect the attempt to win over the local community.
I actually do as well. He's the number 1 selling jersey, by the way, a 5th round pick.
I doubt it. Yeah, I don't doubt it.
He's the number 1.
In their rookie season, because obviously I'm sure Brady has the record for 5th round or later draft pick, but I bet it'll be the most sold jersey for a 5th round draft pick or later ever during the rookie season.
I think that he'll be,
or I guess in Cleveland, you got some of these people that just have the Browns quarterback jersey with, cross it out. Like this is number 29 or whatever.
What I think will surprise him, assuming he can actually play a little bit, is, I think the people of Cleveland who love an underdog story, even though it's not an underdog story at all, it's the son of a Hall of Famer who has his jersey retired in college.
It's amazing. Like it truly is. I think for his NFL career, falling to the 5th round is the best thing that could ever happen to him because he is the furthest thing from an underdog. You want to talk about being born with a silver spoon in your mouth, like, and having the genes and all. Like he is not an underdog. He certainly did not feel like an underdog or carry himself like an underdog coming into the draft. He got humbled a bit, and yeah, now it is. It's you couldn't script it to where he flips from like this verbose, like extremely confident figure to, not saying he's still not that, but he's now an underdog story. And yeah, I think the dog pound's going to love him.
Yeah, no, I think that Dion, as much as he is a, as much as he didn't want him to go to Cleveland, I think he might change his tune when the people of Cleveland respond to his son in the way where they love an underdog story. It's like, there's so many bullshit underdog stories like that. Like people act like Steph Curry is this scrappy guy as if he's not like 6'3" and has like a dad who played in the NBA and amazing genes. It's like people are like, oh, Steph Curry, Davidson. It's like his dad played in the NBA. He's 6 foot. Like, he's not some scrappy little kid. He would be the tallest guy in your friends group. So it's funny when you see those stories, and Shedeur Sanders now has had that. So we'll see what happens with him. Excited for him to get to work. And I think, instead of coming into the NFL thinking he's Willie Beeman, he's now actually going to go ahead and get to work and do lunges up hills with the camera and go to kids' school. So I think it's good. But I think he'll be. I think it'll be good for him to turn things around. The chat's agreeing with us on this one, and hopefully humbles him a little bit and he gets to work. And he, I don't know. The biggest slanderous thing though is like, I'm not going to say who. There is somebody in the war room who is our dear friend, but is an expert on quite a lot of things. A chocolate connoisseur, as we've learned. I love you, buddy. I know. You probably know what I'm talking about. Who was like trying to basically say like he was a bad college quarterback. I'm like, bro, he holds like all the records at Colorado. He was top 10 in Heisman voting. Like he's won like, I think the Golden Arm, like Johnny Unitas, which is like the person who doesn't win the Heisman who's a quarterback. Like he was a really good college quarterback. Like he was not a joke. Like go watch. I've watched his highlights on the treadmill plenty of times. He can spin the football. So we'll see what happens. But Cap, we have a lot to get into today. We got AI with Bunchu coming up in a half hour. A lot of AI stuff to talk about, I'm sure, including the validity of sources within ChatGPT. I want to get on a couple of things here. I had some other cold open stuff. Maybe I'll save for tomorrow that is like NFT related.
Sorry, I distracted you with the screen puking.
Yeah, the screen puking got us going. Really gets the people going when you're talking screen puking. But a couple of things. Like we could probably evergreen punt meme coins being back and whether it is as Housecoin continues to cook.
Well, yes, it's not just Housecoin, and we at least have to mention Dingaling's launchpad launching it at a pretty opportune time, I feel, today. Doing an airdrop. I mean, they're vampire attacking Pump Fun, and I'm not saying that it's Dingaling. I gotta go look, see what's actually it's called. I keep forgetting. I'm not saying this is going to be the one. You can't convince me. No one could convince me that Pump Fund is going to have the market share that they still have a year from now. It's probably the most shocking thing of this cycle that they've continued to dominate that space for as long as they have without any user incentives thus far. Yeah, they've now teased a token, but they have nothing. Like there's no, like the people who are like, they have no moat. They just have, I guess, a cult following now. Like they were, early to market. Like they won that, but Bop.fun launches this week. In the TLDR is it's a vampire attack. They used Kaido and looked at the top, everyone who talked about meme coins and really, it seems like I'm sure they put a lot of thought into the platform itself, but put a lot of thought into this vampire attack. And I will be shocked if they don't capture at least some of Pump Fund's market share. And it's just way too competitive. And you just don't see companies make $600 million in their first 6 months and other real legitimate competition not step up. So I think they're going to absolutely lose market share to Boop and some of these others. And I also think it's going to force Pump's hand to do something similar with their token. So good for the trenchers. And I'm not expecting any big claim or anything, but if you've been in the trenches, make sure to check that Bop today. Just follow Ding, make sure you're checking the official accounts, etc.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I think that, look, I'm not a meme coiner personally, as I've talked about. Like, it's not my game that I play. We don't talk about it a ton on the show because it's just not really like as interesting to us personally. But I've said before, like, the manipulated, the way things are manipulated bugs me and all this, yada, yada, yada. Like, we've been over that. But at the same time, it's a product people like. It's a gambling product. As long as you know what it is, enjoy it, right? So we've talked about that a little bit. I think we're going to continue to see competitors launch. And I think that this is the first of many until, maybe large companies acquire them who have money. Maybe fucking Magic Eden. I think of like the OpenSeas of the world. I think of the, Phantom. Would Phantom launch their own, right? I think of like, Coinbase has something going on as well with the Clanker streets. Like, I just think about like all these large companies and I think about all these large companies and wonder, are they going to all do meme coin launchers? I don't know, man. I think I think that's going to be an interesting thing to follow, because I think like it's going to divide attention, and there's going to be multiple. Like, if I'm Pump Fun right now, because what you offer isn't particularly unique, you just have attention and market share. If I'm Pump Fun right now, I'm probably looking to get acquired. No?
Who's buying them? Because they're going to, at a 2x multiplier, it's $1 billion acquisition. Like, what are you buying? There is no moats. They have no competitive advantage, I don't see. Like I'm not trying to like take too much. I'm sure they have a competitive advantage, but look at it from an outsider. Like, why would you use their platform? If you're not already in the trenches, why would you use that platform over another one where you're going to get incentives that could be thousands of dollars?
So that's the question. Do you create your own if you're like a Phantom wallet, right? Do you create your own? Or do you acquire or do a strategic deal with a Pump Fund? Because like you do really well off them, so why not?
I just don't think I don't think that deal ever comes together, because Pump Fund's going to want $10 billion plus, and it just seems like a very bad.
This is sort of the point I'm making, is that your kind of point is exactly kind of the point I'm making, which is nobody like right now, nobody can theoretically afford them based on what they are right now, but I don't think that means that, like, I think if I'm them, I'm considering whether I should make myself affordable, because I could see a world where unless you have a lot of things coming down the pike, you start to get your valuation back down and down and down and down. Like right now is the most valuable they will ever be. So either A, you try to get a company that will acquire you, or B, I don't know, man. Like you do a strategic partnership. Like, I don't know, man, but like, I'm trying to, like, I guess my point is like somebody who didn't sell a Bored Ape, who didn't really care about the club, somebody who didn't sell a Bored Ape at, $250,000, like, or like, oh man, it did end up going to 400. I could have done it, But like, I don't know, like right now is like the most peak with the competitors coming out. I just think it's the most peak it's ever going to be. So I would be considering a strategic move to make myself maybe worth a little bit less, I guess is what I'm saying. Like that to me is like, I don't know if I'm articulating it very well, but that is my thing. If I'm them, is like, I'm considering a way to make myself acquirable versus being like, well, this is what I'm worth right now today. Because I just do think like a lot, like I guess let me put it this way. Like
they also, you have to keep in mind, like they've printed gin wealth in the last year. These founders have hundreds of millions of dollars they've already extracted from the ecosystem. They don't need to sell.
But why not? I guess to the point is like, why not just take a couple of billion and get out? Like
because no one has dented their, their worship yet, and they probably think they can continue to do this. And I don't know. I actually had a similar thought today about Circle. Circle denied this $4 to $5 billion attempted acquisition from Ripple. I'm going to go back to, I said it earlier, like, does Circle not have a crazy threat to their business model in the fact that their by far biggest client in Coinbase, if Coinbase sends up if Coinbase tomorrow starts their own stablecoin and starts pushing it instead of Circle, they're not worth $4 or $5 billion, I don't think. Could fast forward a few years, and after Coinbase sees PayPal and all these other entities launch their own stablecoins, they got to be thinking, we have another multi-billion-dollar line of business here. Why are we pushing someone else's product when it's to our customers? We could just do our own, and we would be keeping 100% of those fees. If they do that, Circle's not worth $4 or $5 billion. Then, like, it just seems like, I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of these. I struggle with. I understand how they get to their valuations. I struggle seeing some of them keep them because the space is insanely competitive, and it's only going to get more competitive. Like, especially the stablecoin space. Like, there's not going to be less stablecoin issuers in a year from now. There's going to be a lot more. There's not going to be less meme coin pad launchers in a year from now. There's going to be a lot more probably.
Yeah, I guess, and that's the point I'm making, I guess, is like, and like, I know we're kind of saying like, sort of the same thing, but like, that's the fun point I'm making is like, make yourself acquirable, because right now is the best you're going to get. Circle's an interesting one. I don't know. I mean, USDC is such a good name for a coin. Like, it's just like, so I think like they have like the idea that they feel like they should be the US stable coin. So I think there's an element of that. Versus like, if I think of like US, PayPal stable, whatever, it's like, that doesn't sound like it should be a stable coin. That sounds like PayPal is giving me some sort of a weird, that the PayPal's got some sort of a weird coin thing going on that I'm like, I don't know. But like, USDC sounds like it. I don't know if their strategic partnership with Coinbase is Coinbase like, yeah, we could launch our own and take all the money, or we could just not have to worry about this at all, not have an entire new division, not scale it up, not bring a bunch of employees on.
USDT dwarfs USDC. USDC is a better name, better ticker. USDT is bigger. Like, you could do USSD. Like, I don't think the ticker is that. I mean, for that matter, they could do the same ticker if they want and call it, like, I would just create confusion. So, like, I don't know. Like, it's not
just the ticker. I think like also like, and again, you've worked in business. I get it's a tangential thing related to their business, but like, to use an example, which eventually did happen, that'll probably, kind of speak to both of our points here. It took Progressive years before acquiring ASI and actually getting into Progressive Home. And they still sell other homes because they have that options. It's part of their model. But like, Progressive, in theory, people will be like, why are they selling homeowners? Why are they selling homeowners? It took them so long to get to the point where they were selling homeowners insurance. And I think a lot of like companies is like, okay, do we want to scale up and get a, do we want to scale up, get in a division, build this thing, make sure everything works correct? Like, I think there is something to be said about just like having strategic partnerships in this world at the moment. But to your point, like, does Coinbase eventually get there? Probably. I mean, maybe. Or maybe Coinbase has like a, again, like, we don't know what the conversation going behind closed doors is. Coinbase have like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, like we could, we'll eventually buy you guys, but like right now is not the time. Like, so I think there's a lot of things that go into that could be, could be reasoning why. But I agree with you. I mean, stable coins are like their biggest thing is market share, which USDT has like 2/3, is it, of the stablecoin market? Something insane like that. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's a fair question. It's just I don't know that I understand like that one more than the pump fund one, where I understand pump funds like our value is our value, but like I just think at some point, like it's a commodity. It's like POAP. We talk about POAP. Someone might acquire POAP and they do cool stuff. POAP just doesn't have a moat. Period. Hands down, full stop. Anybody can do POAPs. We effectively did a POAP on Ape Chain for the Builder Conference. And
I
so
made
it's like,
10,000 NFTs this morning for 27 cents. 10,000.
right. And so like POAP becomes something where it's like, what a cool concept. They were first mover to market. I look at Pump Fund very much the same way, where it's like the features are very copyable. And that part about it makes it like way less of a moat. They have the attention, but like long term, I don't know. So
So let's do this. It's 8:36. I think we just got another AI topic of the day. I pinned up top some breaking news coming from Visa and MasterCard this morning, Steve. They're giving AI agents access to credit cards. TLDR, Visa unveiled Visa Intelligent Commerce. I should pause. I'll get better at showing this stuff on the screen as I read it. Bear with me as I work through pulling this up. But we'll come right back to the Visa announcement and Visa MasterCard announcement, and on the, so we can talk through that with Bunchu as well as some other AI news. I mentioned the 10,000 NFT mints. I see Jed's out there in the audience. No obligation. If you are able to jump up, we got a guest at 9, so maybe if you can jump up for a few minutes between now and 9. No obligations. If you can't, just throw up a request, we'll pull you up and talk through that. Because I realized the reason I had to pull the trigger on the mint, Steve, my dog woke me up this morning. If you saw my GM tweet, my dog woke me up pre 4 a.m. eerily reminiscent of getting woken up by my former dog Ace at pre 4 a.m. 4 years ago to the day. And fortunately, if you're new here, that April 30th, May 1st, in the middle of the night, Ace woke me up. I opened my Discord as I was taking him out to the bathroom, and to complete pandemonium in the Bored Ape Yacht Club Discord, minted a couple more apes, went back to bed thinking I'd mint some more when I woke up, and the rest is history. But so yeah, after I felt there must be some. He woke me up early for a reason, probably not just to commemorate the 4-year anniversary. So I had to hit the mint button around the same time. So hopefully that plays out as well as minting a few Bored Apes. But we'll find out more about that here in a bit. Back to Visa MasterCard giving AI agents credit cards. Visa unveiled Visa Intelligent Commerce at its global product drop, opening its payment network to AI agent developers. MasterCard is releasing Agent Pay to embed payments into AI conversations. AI agents will soon browse, buy, and manage purchases on users' behalf. Visa aims to make these transactions secure, trusted, and seamless, working with OpenAI, Anthropic, IBM, Microsoft, Stripe, and more to scale AI securely. He put some more key facts in there. This is from Sammy, and I did pin that up top as well. But thoughts on any of that, Steve?
I think I think it's the direction we're going. I actually think it's kind of like I'll make a tangential comment to it. It's funny, like we're talking about like how mass adoption happens under our nose sometimes. It's like, related to like, AI agents, like makes sense, like, right? And then like on the crypto side, just to like kind of like build on that. I don't know if you saw this, but like FIFA's building their own blockchain. FIFA is like the biggest thing in the world. Yeah, I was sharing that before, by the way. Coinbase owns a minor stake in Circle, so it makes sense. And then I saw Salamander with the I hate POAP, but I think if someone acquires it, it needs to be more than just it needs to be a better on UX design. I agree, like the UX is not great, and I think, but that's my point is like somebody's going to build a better POAP, or and it doesn't have to be POAP. Like it's a really easy thing to build, to be like, here is all you're doing is building a terminal to mint NFTs when you show up places. Like one company, like I am actually shocked that no company has gotten VC funding to like distribute. Like I had this idea years ago, like I don't even, I talked to somebody about it, so I don't want to like claim it was my idea, but it was an idea I had discussed and sorted out with somebody. I talked about it with National Parks, so that idea like was a discussion that I had with Scott, and might even be in the book. I can't remember if it hit the cutting room floor. Somebody talked about it with zoos, and I can't remember who. But like I don't know, you take your kids to the zoo and they fill out a little checklist. Like, imagine if you had like POAP pucks throughout the zoo who would like give you a POAP. You visited the elephant exhibit, and when you hit certain things, you could like do little quests, and you can get deal at the gift shop. And like national parks, you can get a POAP that you went to certain national parks and you were able to claim that you went there, and you have the digital thing like a passport. Like, I'm shocked nobody has built this and just created like an infrastructure for it. Like, where it's like, we'll distribute pucks. You guys are going to make more money by putting these pucks in place. And here's how you're going to make more money doing it. And here's how you can get more people to attend. And here's how you can track your fandom with it. So it's not a super defensible moat. But what I was going to say is like FIFA building a blockchain, and going to move all of their sort of like work things on there that they worked. They're ditching Algorand. They had done a mint on Polygon, which is just a collectible at one point. But I don't know. The FIFA building a blockchain feels like a pretty big deal. You've got Visa doing the AI agent thing, which we'll talk about with Bunchu. I think we're starting to see companies get more comfortable with the idea with a more regulatory friendly environment. More comfortable with the idea of doing this stuff. So to me, like, that's interesting. We haven't even talked content coins yet, which I know
we haven't talked content coins, and we'll have to save it for tomorrow. We don't have time today, but I need to talk about this 17-year-old soccer phenom who's all over my timeline all of a sudden for some reason.
What, Lemieux?
Yeah, I never heard him until like yesterday. And now
he was like, well, I mean, you're not a big soccer guy, which I know.
Well, I do want a deep discussion. I'm really curious. It's probably
I won't go deep on it, but like, he was a huge deal in the World Cup. Like his coming out party, he was 16 years old and he was like scoring goals. Like he was a big deal. He's a top probably 10 player in the world at 16. The thing that I told
the stats at 17, he's far outperformed both Messi and Ronaldo at the age of 17.
Yeah, but like this is like the thing. We won't go into a deep discussion on it. We could cold open it if you want tomorrow. The thing I was mentioning to our chocolate connoisseur friend in the war room is that Mbappe was supposed to be like the guy at 19 when he had the coming out in France in the World Cup and all that. And Mbappe's a top 10 player, but like, he's not Messi or Ronaldo, but everyone's like, Mbappe, he's going to be better than Messi. He's going to be better than Ronaldo. Like, people have these conversations all the time. And it's like, Vinny Jr. might be, he's probably the second best player in the world right now. But like, you have guys like that. So I just think, I think that's like, that's the thing that I'd be cautious of is like, he's great. He looked awesome at the World Cup. He's definitely next up. But is he like the next Messi or Ronaldo? Like, pump the brakes. We get one of those every couple of years. But yeah, the funny part about him being all over your timeline now is like, I don't know. Like when I was doing my reply guy thing for sports tweets to get extra Elon checks, I was getting paid hard on tweets for him during the World Cup. And I watched the World Cup. So
I bet that's what's triggered it. I bet me talking more sports and interacting in more sports has thrown him into my algo. Jed, I saw you jumped on stage and we lost you. If you're able to join us, maybe do a lap, leave the room, come back, and we'll get you back up here.
Yeah. So to me, like that's why he is showing up on your time, but he is like quite like his coming out party was the World Cup. So he's not new to most of the world. Like he's very much a Spanish phenom who, like I said, when you're 16 and you're scoring goals in the World Cup, it's a really big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I was doing at 16, but I wasn't scoring any goals anywhere. Well, not in the World Cup anyways. I see Jed did jump up on stage. Is this, Jed, anything else you want to get into, or good time to pivot into why I minted 10,000 NFTs this morning?
Hey, GM guys. GM. What's going on, Cap? How are you, Steve?
GM.
So it's I don't want anybody to overthink it. Our project has been building on base, but I've been spending a lot of time on Ape Chain, and a lot of the Ape Chain founders, especially like.
Lost him, you, Steve?
I do not hear him.
Cut out on us, Jed. You're back. Lost you again. Now you're muted. Maybe.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I was getting a call. Sorry.
Sorry. I figured you were getting a call. You're back. It actually reminded me to check. I didn't know. It's just a habit. I don't even think about it. I throw my phone in Do Not Disturb every morning, and you reminded me to check. I was in there, but for a second, I had a little anxiety attack that I wasn't in D&D. Go ahead. Sorry.
Gotcha. No, I know I got to do that in the future. So no, I was just saying, our project's building on base, but I spend a lot of time on Ape Chain. I really love the culture. a lot of the founders on Ape Chain have, they've supported me heavily, especially Rita. So I know one of the big things for Ape Chain is always about onboarding new people. So how do you onboard new people? You give them something free. So it was kind of a mass onboarding play for me to get a bunch of new people from base and, ETH, wherever, onto Ape Chain. That was one of the reasons. The other reason is, kind of a brand recognition play for us. That's our logo. The white guy is Ricardo. That's the Regen logo. So that was part of the art piece. It was very intentional. And then if you read in the inspiration, it says, nothing planned yet, but if we do cook something up, the top 500 mints will be GTD to E. So you can kind of figure out where that's going.
Can I make a suggestion? And maybe you're thinking this. I'm not trying to pry anything out of you, but I would personally love whatever that is thing. If something comes next, I would love a burn mechanic. And the reason I say that, because I was a little groggy. It was the pre-workout this morning, and I clicked the mint button. I throttled it all the way up to the max per wallet. And as soon as I hit mint, I'm like, I probably should have done that from not
a burner.
Yeah.
We kind of put the alpha out to do it. Unfortunately, OpenSea storefront only allows that. So we couldn't do like one token times 10,000. So yeah, I wish we should have probably let people know that, even, put that out more. But
I was like, oh my God, my OpenSea profile now. Because it went from like, I don't know, already way too many NFTs. It went from like 2,500 NFTs to 12,000 NFTs. And so if you are going to go mint and going to go mint a lot of these, I would strongly encourage you to do it from a burner, not your primary hot wallet.
Definitely. And then just as an added bonus, I had a whole bunch of 18 founders donate us a bunch of NFTs. So I'm going to raffle those off as well, including a D's and some really cool ones. So that's just like an added bonus that wasn't planned, that they all kind of reached out, and, so we'll be giving away some stuff as well.
That's awesome. What was the thought behind the large? Like, I know it's an open edition. What was the thought behind the larger size, like 10,000 max per wallet, like, going for 10 million mints? I saw you talking about maybe a record. Do you know what is the record for an NFT mint project?
I'm waiting from the OpenSea team for the official. I think we're going to break it, but I want to get the official number before I say that yet.
And is that, is that, you mentioned like an onboarding event. Is it primarily an attention grab? Let's get a record. Let's get on the timeline. Let's get over.
Yeah, of course. I could have minted it for 1.8, but I went for virality over cash. And obviously it's all over the timeline. You've seen it. I'm on your show. So I guess, it's doing really well.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you hopping up today on the short notice, and it's fun. I mentioned this before, Steve, but one of the things that gets me really excited about what we're seeing on Ape Chain and Abstract and some of these layer 2s is additional experimenting. Like, you simply could, I guess you could do this on ETH, but you would not have millions of them minted like this. 27 cents for 10,000 seems extreme. Like, I was expecting at least a few bucks. Like, I don't even, I struggle to, like, I know these L2s are making more money than ETH right now, it seems, or they have the ability to, their sequencer fees. That's how they're, that's the whole business model. Is this because, like, I'm not technical enough to understand, is this like the difference between an L3 and an L2? Like, is this even possible on something like Base? Do you know, Jed, or no?
No, I actually thought the same thing. I figured it would have been like $1.50, $2. So I didn't think people would max mint. I figured people would have minted, 500, 1,000 tops.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that. We had to put kind of a cap on it. We couldn't just put unlimited. So we just like, let's throw 10,000. I really didn't expect as many people to max mint 10,000.
When you get 10,000 of anything for 27 cents, it's, for all intents and purposes, gas is free. There's, right, Steve? Like, it's just, I was, and I talk about experimenting. Like, I knew very low to transact on these chains. That was kind of an eye opener to me, to see just the pure volume and how almost non-existent the gas fees were.
It's like Costco minting, right? You just need 10,000 to something, right? It's perfect. It's, instead of just getting one, you can get 10,000, and that's what you're going there for. And no, it's cool. I did that, and actually, it's got me thinking a little bit. Is we're talking about something in the future where the max mint is 10. What if we did max mint 10,000 instead? Like, doesn't change the dynamics of the thing we're talking about potentially. By the way, also free, so this wouldn't be like we're charging people for this, but why not? Like, there was a platform fee for the Ape Chain one. We could do something on.
I have another question for Jed. Is free mint? on OpenSea's homepage, I don't think I saw any marketplace. Like, is OpenSea making anything off this? If you can ask, if you can't, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Just thought popped in my head.
Yeah, I can't really talk about that.
Understood.
But if you need to get on the homepage, just hit me up.
Nope, understood.
And you know what's really cool? We just hit 10 mil on the show live, so that's pretty cool.
Exciting. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Congratulations.
That's fun. That's a fun way to go about it. I think it's a fun marketing strategy too.
Yeah, we had the GameFi game on ApeChain that did millions of transactions when they launched. We now got Jet and 10,000 mints. I get it. It's free or 27 cents to mint 10,000, but it's there's an analogy in my head, Steve. It's just not coming out right now, but something to the effect of, we need the beer light. We need the beer can app. We need the flashlight app before we can have Cal AI or ChatGPT, right? Like, I'm not trying to downplay the phase we're in, but I do think we're much closer to the beer app phase in the flashlight app phase than we are to ChatGPT as it relates to dApps and in on-chain games and applications, anything. I think we need this stuff so that others can understand what's possible. That was not possible a few years ago, at least not to this extreme, right?
Yeah, I think totally. I think we're definitely much closer to that. And I think it's moving quickly. And I think AI, again, I said this before, I think AI enables the blockchain. Like, I think AI is going to allow people to do things in a way they previously didn't before. And you're going to see more people. It's not going to stop coders. Coders are still going to be better than vibe coders. It's not going to stop artists. Artists are still going to be better than most AI artists. Are going to be really talented AI artists for sure that you're going to see. But like, the bottom line is, like, it's just like the same way I can tell, like, to this day, there is a person who has decided they have a personal vendetta against me because I caught them replying to me with AI. And it's gotten, like, actually kind of weird in some ways, which is a whole nother offline conversation I should actually tell you about at some point, because it's gotten strange. But, like, I caught someone who was debating me and using just AI, and it was like clearly AI. Like, I literally basically recreated the prompt they were replying me to and was like, I got almost the same answer from ChatGPT in that model. So AI doesn't replace writing. It doesn't replace creativity. It helps enhance it. I think with the blockchain, it's the same. It's going to replace all of those things. So I think there is a very solid case to be made that we're moving that direction. It's going to be quicker. And again, I keep saying, like,
coincidentally, I'll share this. I'll post up top. I had a conversation with ChatGPT yesterday about AI advancement laws, compared to Moore's law. If you're curious, we're not going to go into it, but I'll pin the whole thing up top if you're curious.
Yeah, Moore's law is the classic, like, basically things advance, it's sort of compounding interest, but for technology. The idea that if, like, you're 2x, but it sort of is a compounding interest for technology law. But yeah, no, Diablito says I might start a ChatGPT account just to reply to Steve. Bro, I'm telling you, it was like, I caught this person. To this day, they lie about it. And they're like, no, I don't know. I just use it for extra help. And I was like, we can't have an intellectually honest conversation until you admit that you did something unethical and lied because you got caught with your pants down. But yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, I get some weird reply people. That just comes with the territory of when you have a platform and you talk for 2 hours every day and you try to take risks that other people don't take. People are going to criticize and throw tomatoes from the sidelines. Just how it happens sometimes. But yeah, ever since I caught them with the AI thing, there is a strong vendetta against me. And it's been funny. Like I said, I'll tell you after the show, Cap. I don't even want to give them air cover on that. But it's actually to the point where it's like transparently hilarious. I'll tell you a good story after the show. But it is what it is. No hard feelings on people. It is, I don't really get upset at that sort of stuff. I actually had someone who trolled me in my comments who I was like, they were like trying to DM me and were like, I wouldn't mean anything by that. I'm like, no, man, this sort of thing happens all the time. That was nothing. But
OC might have minted number 10 million live on the show. OC, appreciate you. Thanks for supporting Jed, and congrats, Jed. I'm excited for you. I'm going to, I have no idea what the floor, so I should probably check before I commit to this on stage, but I'm going to go pick up a region today to support you and all you do for the space. And I had to double check. I was pretty sure you were the steakhouse guy, right? Yeah. Is that correct?
That is correct. And we'll be having some events here in NYC.
Awesome. Well, whether we make it to an event or not, I think Steve and I both are planning in NFT NYC. So looking forward to connecting, shaking hands, and maybe breaking some bread. But congrats on the 10 million minutes. That's incredible. Congrats on the success, and looking forward to seeing what's next. Thanks again for joining up or jumping up today.
Same to you guys, man. I've been a fan for 3 years or 4 years, however long you guys are on. So you guys do a phenomenal job. Best space.
Really appreciate it. Is there anything we didn't ask you that you wanted to share before we let you out of here?
Nope, all good. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks again, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No, good to see that. Again, it inspires me because, like I said, and we can talk more after the show, but the thing that we're talking about that we're close to signing a deal on, imagine instead of 10, we do 10,000. It's free anyway. It just gives more. I mean, it doesn't change the dynamic of anything we're doing. And it gives a little bit of more of a fun element to it if people want it, or we're creating more digital junks. I don't know. We're coining this. But I don't know if you saw yesterday. Maybe we hit it to tomorrow, because I know we got Bunch coming up in the next, 5 to 7 minutes or so, which will be exciting. Just double checking my text to make sure I'm not missing anything, and he's still on. But excited to talk to him about some AI stuff. I don't know if you saw, like, Jesse put out a video about content coins yesterday.
I saw your text. Must have been after I went to bed. I saw it this morning. I haven't watched the video yet, though. So do you? And I won't watch it during the show. Do you want to TLDR what Jesse said? Because I saw you had a complimentary quote tweet. I read your quote tweet, but I didn't watch the video yet.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we were talking about the like a couple of people in the space who don't follow. Jesse now follows me. He sent me a very nice DM after, which I appreciated. And I did appreciate the way he approached it, where he basically said, "Thanks for the really nice quote tweet, man. Like, constantly learning, a lot to learn." I'm pretty bullish on his response. So here's what Jesse said. Basically, he came out with a very, very, like, if they had come out with this tone and messaging at the beginning, we would have been debating the validity of, like, nuances of the content coin instead of, like, all of the signal and noise around it, or all of the noise around it and less of signal. So,
yeah, first it was pretty cringe.
Yeah, the whole run around it was like, coin this, basis for squirting. He basically came out and said, first of all, he's basically said, I handled the communications around content coins poorly. He said that flat out. He was like, I didn't do well. I was overly excited. It wasn't well planned. I just kicked, by the way, the thing that we were talking about before the show that's on the ground. And now, like, I can't do what I wanted to do during. So I may go off camera for a second. The number one, he basically copped to the fact that it was bad communications. Then he said, I'm sorry, I shared some stuff I shouldn't have. Like, basically said I shouldn't have shared certain things. That was a bad job. So, like, again, cop to that. And he's like, but I do believe in this, and here's why. And he said, I want to address, like he said, I do think there's the future of social. We want to push creators forward. And he basically made the points of, like, I want to address one by one the critiques of content coins. So he brought up the point of, like, people say not everything should be tokenized. He's like, this reminds me of the early web, when not everything should be on the web. The best stuff rises to the top. Creating a market where different people are participating in different ways is good. And then you can see what happens there. He said, mixing sort of art and social with monetization. He's like, some people didn't like that. He's like, but, in my argument, that's happening already behind the scenes. He talked about, the discoverability you get from things like Dex Screener and sort of trending on Farcaster with coins like that are financialized, which helps the content get more run. I would disagree with that point on its face, but I think that it's also okay to have that discussion, and I understand the point he's coming from. And at the end, he talked about all the things are building on base that move towards decentralized social media, which I would agree. Decentralized social media is important. You should own your content. Right now, we use the analogy in the book. Right now, you go to Facebook and you're basically doing the equivalent of buying a bunch of furniture and putting a bunch of stuff on the wall. But when you to an apartment you're renting, but when you leave that apartment, the landlord keeps all of it. That's basically what's happening to people right now on Facebook and other social media. My content on X is not portable to my content anywhere else. And they're basically saying we should make the content more portable. So I thought his whole tone and messaging around it, I'll be curious what you think when you watch the video. It's a 6-minute video. It's worth the watch. Like, if they had come out with that from the beginning and rallied around it, people would have been in on it.
I agree. 6 minutes, though. That'll be my critique.
I think it was like, I think that's like the one, not to like nuance critique the comms, because I think this is much better.
I'm kidding. But it's like, I will watch the whole 6 minutes because you told me to, but yeah, normally a 6-minute video, I've got no interest on next.
I watch so many long form videos myself. So I'm a big video consumer, usually listening in the background though. It's usually like, I'll turn on like a Sam Harris video or a Joe Rogan video, or just because I try to just to hit both ends of the spectrum and the perspective there. But I normally do that. But I don't know, man. Like, I guess my point being, like, if they had come out with a thread that explained this, if they come out with Jesse saying this, if they come out with this whole discussion, like, I think more people would have been like, all right, like, that tracks, that adds up. I get it. And I think, like, it just shows, like, people in this space sometimes, like, roll their eyes that I'm always like, communications. Why don't we have good communications? This is the value of it. It's like he went from being clown and people saying, like, you know, oh my God, like, Base has crashed out and, like, sharing stuff he shouldn't have and all these things, to people who see that video are saying, like, oh, okay, like, I can debate some nuances of where I disagree with this. Like, I don't think everything should have a market cap, but I could see a world where, like, it's effectively like a tip or an 11.55. Like, so I think he did a really nice job. And I think it's important to give credit where credit's due on things where people love to rip things down. Here's the perfect thing, and then we could kick it to Bunchu in a second here. Here's the perfect thing that happened though with it, which I thought was funny, is that I critiqued it, and that tweet cooked like 30, 40,000, I don't even know what it was, impressions for me. Until Jesse noticed my tweet where I was complimenting him, it had like 397 impressions. It is the Twitter algorithm where it's like, I said something nice.
You know what, though? Someone shared this. Someone actually might have been on the show. If not a DM, shortly after I quote tweeted something the other day, someone reached out and let me know, and reminded me, because we knew this. Instead of quote tweeting a video like that, go on mobile, do the long press, hold, share post the video to your feed, and it doesn't nerf it. But the quote tweets on videos are getting nerfed on X. You get much more engagement if you do the long press on mobile, share the video to your post, and then put out whatever you're going to put in your quote tweet on top of it.
I don't know that's the case, actually. Someone said that. I've noticed that, like, the conventional wisdom was all quote tweets or bad quote tweets. And I should have done it that way. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't have quote tweeted. But I've noticed my quote tweets actually doing decent. I mean, this one obviously got some love. I think Jesse might have retweeted it, or at least, like, he replied to it and people have noties on, because I got 7,500 plus impressions on this one. But I did a 2,100 on quote tweet yesterday, another 1,700. So, I mean, my quote tweets yesterday did, like, I don't know, 20K combined between three of them. Like, that's not too shabby. So I actually think that conventional wisdom might be off now, but I think that there is a matter of, like, X does like rage better than it likes non-rage. I have noticed that part about it. So I don't know, worth a potentially another discussion. But either way, would recommend people watch Jesse's video. It's 6 minutes. He has a really good tone. He explains the strategy more. It's thoughtful. It's better. And, like, I think that if I'm going to critique people when I do things I don't like, I need to be open-minded to listen to them when they say something that is logical and makes a lot of sense. And, I'm not going to die in any hills. And I still am not a content coin guy. I think there should be some nuances to it, but the decentralized social thesis, I do think seeing that in its final form will be awesome. But I don't know.
Semi-breaking news, NVIDIA adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet for stability.
Who's that adding? NVIDIA?
Third largest company in the world.
Is adding Bitcoin
to their balance sheet for stability. So very big if true.
Which is also good, because NVIDIA is like, is a bad analogy. I was going to say like the Frank D gods, and not it is who's somebody who gets a ton of attention on X. It's like they have a cult. They're like a cult. Like, basically, NVIDIA is the Gordon Goner. Okay, so I'll use a positive one. NVIDIA is the Gordon Goner of stocks, in the sense that, like, I feel like if Jensen Huang says something and or they do something, everybody's like, oh my God, NVIDIA is doing it. Freak out. So, like, that literally could set.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before the states start doing it, before the government, more nation states start doing it, before, yes, there are, like, I know some people are like, I'm sure some people respect Saylor and MicroStrategy. I think many of I'm going to guess, I don't know, I'm guessing most Fortune 500 CEOs look at him as a joke, like, probably dunk on him and make fun of him and don't take him serious. Conversely, I would bet the overwhelming majority, if not all of those Fortune 500 CEOs, take Jensen serious.
Yes, everybody takes Jensen Huang seriously, versus, like, Michael Saylor. I think people are like, oh, that guy's just a crypto trader who owns a company. So I think, like, yeah, I think I would say, like, the NVIDIA play is bullish because they have the opportunity to set the tone for everybody, and people in Wall Street will get excited about it, and people who are in TradFi will get take it seriously. But if they say it, it's like, oh, okay, this is for realsy. So that's good to see. But That said, let's we got a lot of AI to cover, including this new visa news. I want to talk about AI sourcing. So we've got a lot to cover there. So we're gonna play Bunchu in.
Tune in now, it's fire brain time. Hot topics and thoughts so prime. Hit that play, no need to mind. Feel the heat in every rhyme. Fire brain, ignite the night. Fire brain, we're burning bright.
We did get a request for the Bunchu intro song lyrics today. So, Payne, if we could whip those up for our guests, that'd be great.
A beardless Bunchu for the first time in years.
I don't know. I've seen it before. I don't know how I feel about this. How does your wife feel about this?
Wife digs it. Kids, kids dig it.
Think you're their dad, or they think your wife left you?
I think I look like probably 10 years younger. It's pretty crazy, but so funny. I asked, I took, when you don't shave for a long time, you do the thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to take before and afters, like I'm some kind of weight loss success story or something. Right? And so you took the before with, the full beard and everything. And then you do the fun thing where you're like, oh, what if I had mutton chops? And then you take a picture along the way or whatever. You're like, what if I just looked gross and kept the goatee and the mustache? And so I did all of those fun things. But then I asked ChatGPT, I put in the bearded picture. I said, how old do I look? Like, how old is the person in this picture? And first of all, I don't know if it was still like sycophant ChatGPT that we've been seeing on the timeline the other day.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
It was very flattering, and it was like, oh, I think by by your skin and all of this stuff, the person in this picture is 32. And I was like, oh, that's very kind of you, ChatGPT. And I put the picture of me with no beard in, and I said, all right, now what's your best guess? And they said 28. And I was like, holy cow, that's crazy. And I was like, I'm 38. And then they banned me from ChatGPT. I was like,
no, may have inspired me. I may have to shave my beard as well. I'm gonna have to do it before the rest of my hair goes gray. It's like working its way up my sideburn, burns all the way into my hair. So if I shave the beard, I got to do it while I still have black hair on my head.
I must be going through just like the incredible midlife crisis thing, because I also like buzzed the hair. I went straight razor.
Wait, you don't
to
have
the
hair?
head.
You don't have hair either?
I went a 2 on the head.
Oh, classic.
So we went full. I was if you're an Always Sunny fan out there, there's the episode where Frank shaves all of the hair on his body, and the line is that he just wants to be pure. And I guess that's what I was going for. So the beard is gone, the hair is gone. We are fully in midlife crisis mode, and I just needed to be. My phone doesn't even recognize me. That's the craziest part about
Face ID.
Yeah, my Face ID doesn't work. I'm like, what the fuck?
Aerodynamic Bunchu. I'm gonna have to change. I'm not gonna have to change the photo ID I have in my phone for Bunch. It doesn't match anymore.
What is it? This what picture do you have now? Gosh,
I can't remember the guy's name. The actor from Startup.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, now you just put the I don't think I look like Steph Curry anymore without the beard. That is the thing. So no more Steph Curry comparison.
Startup's name though, because you're a spitting image of him with the beard.
Oh, gosh, I don't even know.
I'll pull it up.
Google it or ChatGPT it. But
I think I used the shot that you had from the Forum 3 shot where it's like you look like, you know what I'm talking about, like the
that headshot picture. Oh my god! So talk about a beard. I mean, it's like this big in that beard, and I'm wearing this cardigan and that I love, by the way, that I still have. But that picture's like, gosh, probably 8 years old now, because I took that as a corporate headshot for my medical job that I was working in like 2018 or something. But anyway, so
it does give
yeah,
medical salesman vibes, actually, comparatively.
there you go.
It does actually now, totally. No,
Sorry, not startup. Silicon Valley. I was giving you the wrong series. Silicon Valley.
Oh, wait, Erlich Bachman.
Erlich. Yes. I got to change it.
you don't
That's
look like
hilarious.
Erlich Bachman at all.
You.
Aviato.
When I was founding my startup Aviato, my Aviato, yes.
Oh my god, I need to rewatch that series, by the way, because two things. One, I loved it at the time. I have way more context now, and I bet it holds up. Like it was
totally.
I see clips from it get shared on the timeline. I'm like, oh my god, that's 10 times. Like I've mentioned it on the show a few times. There's one where he's like at the bar with a guy who's freaking out, who like took too much funding, and they're like, why didn't you just take less money? And he's like, you could do that. And like, it reminds me of like it's like there are so many relatable like things in that. Now that I actually work in early stage tech, it's almost must be even more bizarre for you if you rewatched it. You know what we should consider doing? Not that I have time, nor do you have time. We could do a Silicon Valley like just rewatch. Like
I love this idea of you rewatch Silicon Valley, and then the whole thing is I rewatched the entire series of Silicon Valley, so you don't have to. Here's what it taught me about B2B SaaS, right? Like, and then just go on a LinkedIn post tirade.
This is Kevin Degod's thread. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But no, I like the I like this idea of potentially like because I've noticed like and we'll get into AI in a second for sure, but it's like there's the are you familiar with what Pod Meets World is?
No.
Okay, so Topanga, Eric Matthews, and Sean Hunter. So Will Friedle, I don't know why I'm blanking on Sean Hunter's actual real name, Ryder Strong, and Danielle Fishel. They do a pod where they are rewatching, and I just found it like, and they're already in college years. I found it probably like almost through high school, where they rewatch it and they talk about it. They also talk about other things, and they'll have guests from the show. And like, you know, the guy who played Goldberg, who went through his whole thing in Mighty Ducks, was on the show for a period of time in the college years. They talked to him about that and his like life and struggles. They brought in, I don't know if you watched a lot of Boy Meets World or you watched the college years,
Mr. Feeney, baby.
Did you know the dean who Mr. Feeney had like a flirtatious relationship with at the college is his real life wife? So anyway,
that's crazy.
She's on the show.
Those podcasts are so fun. I haven't listened to that one, but one of my favorite shows is Always Sunny, and they did one for a while.
No,
dude,
no, that's not even.
That's hilarious. They did one for a while. I think they got through like season 4 or 5, and they were doing the same thing. Dude, that is so
absolutely funny. Absolutely not. But yeah,
we talked about this on the show one day. I don't know what.
Gosh, I don't remember. That's so funny. I don't remember.
Someone brought it up, and it hit me, and they said you look like him, and I immediately changed the caller ID to it.
I do have a vague recollection of this now, but I can't remember exactly.
You're like one of 4 people in my phone that has an actual photo caller ID.
Oh well, that is flattering for sure. But Always Sunny did a podcast like that. It was very great. And then did you ever listen to The Office Ladies?
I've heard them a little bit. Yeah, with Jenna Fisher and
Angela.
Angela. Yeah, exactly. Well, their real names are almost all their names. I don't know if I'm sure you know this, obviously, but it's like you check their real names. It's like, wait a minute, outside of like Michael Scott and Jim and Pam, everybody just has their actual real names as names on The Office. Like, I think Creed's real name is Creed, and Angela's real name is Angela. So anyway, but yeah, no, they're those things are really good. And the Pod Meets World one, like, I mean, Danielle Fishel is just, for the ages, man. She's like a lot of people's first crush who's our age, and she hasn't lost her fastball, I'll put it that way. And she's just like, she's very, she's sort of the leader of the pack on the show because she's really well-spoken and intelligent and kind of leads them. But it's really cool watching them. And it's actually sad because what I've learned through this is that apparently Corey Matthews, so Ben Savage, he ran for Congress or something in like California, didn't get it, but he just stopped talking to them like out of nowhere. And there's a, do you remember the redhead college roommate that they had? Eric, and so apparently she became a mattress actress afterwards, which, no shade, all work is good work. And she went on the show and she like basically said to them, she's like, you guys are mean to Ben Savage. And like Will Friedle almost went in tears and was like, my wife had to tell me to stop calling him because he wouldn't answer my calls and texts. And he's like one of the most important people in my life. And my wife was like,
that's sad.
he doesn't want to hear from you. You just got to give it up. And like, they were all so hurt. And so anyway, but it's the insights you get and listening to them talk about the behind the scenes and how things went down and question like the writing and, you know, where things don't make sense. It's really interesting to see. So in any case,
I'm very excited for years from now when we're all sitting down watching the Netflix documentary Behind the Coffee with Captain stories. The candid interviews will be really great. You'll have, you know, the end will be like a blurred out silhouette, voice changed of Dave Toronto giving a giving a real behind the scenes look at what he thought of the show. And
that's who we need on it, talking about it. Like everybody's praising it. This one guy comes in and just says like, you know, these horrible comments. And anyway, but look, you mentioned that you talked to ChatGPT about your beardless and bearded looks, and it gave you nice compliments. I had, and again, nothing related to this. I had ChatGPT problems over the weekend. It was being really bad. It wasn't answering me really well. And I know there's some updates going through, but it wasn't in the 03 model. It was in the 4.0 model. But apparently it was the 03 model, right? Or was it the 4.0 model that they updated that was like way too nice, which I noticed as well.
Yeah, no, it was 4.0. You text me. First of all, by the way, I just think this is funny because both you and Chris do this, and all my friends do it, where I basically am ChatGPT support, and it's like tech support, and it is so funny because I'm only bringing it up not to shame you, but I think it's hilarious because it's not just you two. It's literally like my whole friend group. Whenever they're using AI, anything, I'm the tech support guy, and it's like for things like ChatGPT, and it's like, why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? And the one you sent me over the weekend,
he was troubleshooting me to like some ridiculous photoshopping thing. I can done myself in Canva in like 3 seconds. I spent an hour on ChatGPT.
To be fair to me versus Chris's request, Chris is asking you for tactical advice, like he would be calling Dell support. I just want to know if you've seen a news article.
I do that too. I do both. I do that as well.
Well, that was what was funny. Was yours? I mean, first of all, they're all valid and appropriate. But yours was so funny because you were like, man, I don't know what happened to this thing. It was working totally fine, and it just feels different. And you were right. Like I had texted you back that like literally earlier that afternoon, I had seen something where somebody was talking about how it just all of a sudden became this like sycophant, and it was trying just very hard over the top to like people please and to over compliment, and like at the detriment of the quality of the responses, and to the detriment of like the truth in certain aspects, right? Of like, all right, you could ask it a fact, tell it was wrong, and then it's, you know, praising you for correcting it and telling you how great you are and things like that, which is obviously very dangerous, right? But the interesting thing was like then Sam Altman came out the following day or something and explained that they had pushed an update. Actually, it was 2 days prior. He said they pushed an update to the ChatGPT 4.0 model, and it was, you know, smarter, better, blah, blah, blah. And one of the like bullet points on there was better or like more improved personality, because it's funny. They, you know, I think ChatGPT, OpenAI gets ripped for like how it feels when you talk to the models versus Claude. Like everyone loves the personality of Claude, and we've talked about it before, but there's that 5-hour Lex Friedman podcast where they talk really in depth about how they think about Claude's personality. And so I think ChatGPT, OpenAI has been spending a lot of time on this, and the update was just not a good one. It had like a lot of I think unforeseen consequences with that piece. And what's interesting now looking back on it is as they commented on like why this might have happened or things like that. Have you ever used ChatGPT and they serve you up 2 different responses and ask which one you like better?
I actually hate that, but yes, they have.
I hate it too. But so I think word on the street was that they were doing that they were using those responses to kind of like update the personality or retrain the model for like those types of responses. So what's interesting is that it's possibly some sort of reflection of like what people chose they liked better. But then you have to think about like, oh, why did they like it better? Is that is it because it was praising them, or is it because it was a better quality response, or how does that get factored in? And then there's this whole concept of like, if you train something for to be a sycophant, like, is that a dangerous thing? And I think it is potentially, right? If it's like the example of like telling it a fact, telling it it's wrong, and then you're right, you're so smart, that's a dangerous thing, I think, for potentially. But yeah, so they officially, and I've never seen them do this before, they rolled back the update. So they went back to the version, from a couple days ago, and said they were going to kind of write about the experience and what happened and explain kind of how it got to that point and, what they saw, which is really cool. So I'm interested to see all of that information come out. But it was just this really interesting kind of experiment that happened over the weekend. And I think, I didn't notice it because I've been using O3 mostly. Because of course I'm just the caviar eating the AI elitist that has the unlimited O3 model at this point. But but as soon as, it's funny, you noticed it right away, and I'm curious, like, what were the things that you noticed about it from the quality of response standpoint and the personality standpoint? Did you notice both things?
Yeah, I did actually. I have noticed. It's funny because I noticed. So to be fair, I noticed because I was getting like weird, like it was probably during the update push or something, because like it just wasn't responding. It was like, crashing out a lot, and I was using it for some research, and I was like, come on now, that's not great. And then I did notice, like, because you mentioned like, hey, I saw this, because I noticed right away like that there were some differences, and I did notice, like, the analogy I'll make is it reminds me, there's this scene in Zoolander, the Center for Ants scene, where Zoolander says, like, the real school has to be at least 3 times this size. And Mugatu's just like, he's absolutely right. And it's like, I felt like ChatGPT was giving me that same level of energy where, like, I would, like, correct it on something or say something different. Like, what's funny that you say about this, too, is that when I was answering it, I'd be like, why aren't you just giving me the data? You gave me a really good graph like 2 days ago. It's like, you're just so, and it was giving me that sort of level of, like, it did feel a little bit uncomfortable how much it was complimenting me. And so I did notice that. And I guess, like, you mentioned it's based on those response things that they had. Those responses, like, which one do you like better? I usually choose based on which one has more in-depth data and better answers to my question. I am not choosing it based on how it treats me personally. And sometimes I either don't choose one or just click on one because I hate it. I just want the answer. I don't want to, like, I am coming to you to help me solve a problem, not to have me think more about 2 lengthy responses. And so I can't stand it. When you're picking those, how in-depth do you answer those? Because I feel like it might not be good data based on which response you prefer, like on a large level.
Yeah, I answer them for what's the more whatever I feel is more accurate and concise. If I'm concise in the way that it, like, explains the answer to me in a way that, like, I can easily understand, but also without like all the fluff and filler. So I actually tend to favor the shorter responses if they are, factually accurate and stuff. Like, I don't love the like big fluffy responses most of the time. I think it's funny, last week we were talking about, what are the main uses that people are using this for in 2025, and I, like you, I'm using it to problem solve more than like the companionship therapy layer, right? So my opinion might change if that is the way I was using it, right? So I'd probably want something more that felt a little more high EQ, right, than high IQ, if was my main use case. So I could see why you would want either one. But for me, I'm typically asking it to solve problems that I can't. And so I like more concise responses. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it's a little bit of like one of the things that I just wanted to like I usually like to try to bring a resource or a tool every week that people can use and go look at stuff when they're, looking for AI stuff. Last week, that video, I hope some people went out and watched that. If you didn't, I hope you bookmarked it at least. It's getting blown up all over the place for just being like a really awesome 2-hour like primer on everything you need to know for AI. But like going into the like piggybacking onto like what model for which and why, today I just wanted to make people aware of kind of two things. So there are two main websites that I use for like LLM rankings and leaderboards. And I think this is important as we get more like models, more models from more companies with different names for different use cases. So this website is called Vellum. You can see the one thing just to be aware of is here in that top corner, it tells you when this was last updated. So this was updated about 2 weeks ago. So this was as of April 17th, 25. So it wouldn't have things probably like O3, those models in here yet. But you can see here, like at a quick glance, who's scoring best on benchmarks for different types of things like high school math, agentic coding, the SweBench tests, all of these kinds of things. And this helps you essentially pick what models. You can actually compare them too, because all these models have different costs, right? So I like to use this for if I'm building something, either a workflow or, something more agent, like an agent, and it's using different models for potentially different tasks. And do I always need, the top of the line model if I'm answering a very short question or just having like conversational back and forth? Like if I answer, if somebody just says, hey, what's going on today? Do I need Claude 3.7 thinking for that? Probably not. And so like, depending on your use case, you can come in here and compare a bunch of different models, compare their costs, compare what they're good at, which I think is really helpful. Because, a lot of the getting your best output from these things, I think half the battle is picking the right tool, and you're just kind of getting so inundated so much with new models, new companies, different names. What the heck do they do? When to use them? All of that stuff. So there's this one, which is called Vellum. And then there's one that's called Chatbot Arena, or lmarena.ai. And that's another great one as well to just kind of compare and see the leaderboard on these. Cap, I'll bring that one up real quick as well. But yeah, these are cool. So just another resource for you to take away, check out what models are ranking highest for where, and you can compare costs and things like that if you're using these for anything else other than in their native platforms. Curious, Steve, would you ever use something like this?
Yes, and I was going to ask on Vellum, which was much more, if you ask me my ChatGPT choice, which one I'll take, Vellum immediately is more easier to digest. This looks more like a thing that like this feels like the Android, and
feels like AI made it.
Yeah, like this feels like the Android that everyone's like, our features are better and it's a better model, and I'm like, yeah, but it sucks to use, and the Vellum one is like easy. On that Vellum model, I noticed multiple ChatGPTs. Was that 3.0 and 4? Or sorry. They have the worst naming. They have a worst naming convention, Apple, which is hard to do. But is that because they have the two separate models, or is that the $200 version versus the $20 version versus the like what is the when I see those in there, like does it compare like your $200 versus mine?
No, these are two different models. So here you can see this one's 04 mini, which is one of the newest ones. And then you have 03 mini, and you have, so these do have 03 on here. I didn't even realize that. So you've got, man, this is kind of crazy that we were talking the other day about who's got the lead. OpenAI kind of back in business here with 3 of the top 5 models for reasoning. So yeah, these are each individual models. So you should have, if you have a Plus account, you should have some sort of access to all 3 of these. What ends up happening on the Plus accounts is your slightly throttled to how many queries you get from each of these. I believe it's 100 a day on O3 now, or 100 a week on O3 for the Plus account, and maybe O4 Mini is 100 a day. But yeah, these are all different models that do different things, right? So for here, high school math, you can see this new O4 Mini is the top performing one, and it like, even when you go into ChatGPT, they try to tell you like which one's best for reasoning, which one's best for math or coding or hard problems like that. And so you could just see this in a visualized way here on this one, which I like a lot. But yeah, these are all different models from OpenAI, and Sam Altman did say they were going to get better at naming, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I hope they do get better at naming. Like, I'm a big fan, especially in complex things like this. Just name the thing what the thing is. Like just make it very obvious, like ChatGPT deep research, ChatGPT, you know what I mean? Like just call it that. Like 3004. It's like I was talking about the Apple model. Like, I don't need like to know if, snow leopard, Alaskan salmon is better than like, Yeti crab, fish clown version of I don't know what I want to do. It's just tell me like what the number is, or make it because ChatGPT has different functionalities. Like when you were demonstrating last week, that super deep research function is not the deep research, but the actual, sort of like advanced research in the O3 model. It's like, I just call it something different for the functionality of it. Why is it? Is it just like, do they not have a single ET person in the building?
Well, my guess is that they are all kind of like, in software, when you put out a new version, it's like version 2.0, version 2.1, version 2.3, version 2.4, all the way up till the next version. And so like they do that to like leave themselves, iterative names. And I have a feeling that like each one of these models are kind of like building up to a like GPT-5 or whatever, right? And so they're kind of like these milestones that they're releasing along the way. So that's probably what they're called internally, and they just push them out that way, which is still really not good. Like the fact that you have 4.0 and 0.4 is just so dumb. Like it's so dumb. It's ridiculous, but
it's absolutely insane to me. And it's one of the biggest problems I see with them. Speaking of problems, though, with OpenAI, and again, who knows the validity of this, but I saw this, and I'm curious if you saw this and had thoughts on this. So someone goes, I don't like how much O3 lies. And O3 goes, I owe you a straight answer. Because this person was asking a question about why somebody was called Mr. Checklist. And it kept saying this person's called Mr. Checklist. And after a lot of pushing, basically the guy said, I don't have a straight answer or any published source that calls him this. I briefly recount this conversation I watched in 2018, which is also funny because you see it thinking in that way, where it's like thinking about itself as somebody who watched this when it didn't exist, which you want to give yourself some real Westworld freakish nature of things. I think about like sometimes like, what if you just woke up today and everything you had was implanted in all your memories? Like it's basically what ChatGPT is doing. Like when you talk about the living in a simulation theory, this part freaks me out where you put in memories, because it says in 2018, I watched an IBM Center National Academy where someone talked about his checklist discipline. So it basically made this up. I think someone said in quote tweet, incredible, after being pressed for a source for a claim. O3 claims it personally overheard someone say it at a conference in 2018, so the two questions there, one, we can go with the existential freaky dread, but two, I always check my ChatGPT resources, always. Like I always, like when I use resource things, like I check them. And in fact, I got called on one the other day. We double checked on it. It looked like it was correct. But like, I kind of look deep into this thing and try to pull analytics. But like, this is kind of a problem, because the blind trust we have in AI is akin to the blind trust my Aunt Phyllis has on Facebook to the meme she just saw. And so like, I just wonder is this a dangerous path? And have you seen this sort of thing before?
Well, I did hear that they're about to release Aunt Phyllis 4.0 model. So I think you
she's much nicer. She's much nicer. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I think
she won't ruin Thanksgiving anymore, I guess is what
I think this is interesting, because I think it's definitely a problem, right? But that we've certainly seen an evolution from like the early days of ChatGPT and these models hallucinating, right? Like when I remember when ChatGPT first came out and didn't have access to the internet, and it was just like making up papers to cite and source, or making up facts and things like that that just like were not true. And at that point, you're just like, man, is this thing even usable? And I think we're kind of going through that phase now with these reasoning models, and the solution to these right now could potentially even be the problem it's having, right? Like when you think about how O3 works, it has the ability to decide and call a bunch of different tools when it thinks it should call tools. So that means, if it's doing its own reasoning and finds something that it's unsure of, it might go call a tool and search the internet for something. But that internet search might have resulted in, maybe it got taken to a Reddit post, right, where somebody actually did overhear a conversation, and now that's part of the response all of a sudden, right? So like, I think it
does that a lot, I feel. Even like a specific example, I think I shared with you, I'm using it to basically tell me the top 3 starting pitchers and top 3 stacks for every underdog battle royale slate. And I give it the 3 sources. I tell it, hey, use this for weather, use this for the Vegas implied lines for each team, use this for projected lineups. I gave it the 3 links, the 3 sites to do research, and it gets data from there, but then it goes to many other sources. So I just did my thing today. I'll actually just share it so you can see. Actually, I'm not going to share my ChatGPT. I will take a screenshot.
That's personal. I was having this conversation.
You're like,
recently.
what? You're like, what's this red mark on?
Dawn's been using. Dawn and I share because we're just like the $20 a month, and I'm like, I'm at the point where I kind of want you to get your own. It's kind of getting personal, like a phone, like an email, like like when people have shared Facebook accounts.
This is, I think, why ChatGPT wins long term. They're getting their claws in us now. With memory,
dude,
I'm not gonna like it. No, it's learning more about me every single day. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm not going somewhere else and starting over. Like it's so too good.
I've been saying this for a while as well, and I'm trying to build Billy this way. In the thing that is going to make ChatGPT or any of these the leader is the best use of memory, right? Because it makes it becomes stateless. Like, okay, every day you get the Men in Black thing, to all of a sudden there is switching cost, right? It's like, man, I don't want to go use Gemini right now because Gemini doesn't have context of my whole season MLB stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to do that. And so I am approaching the same thing, like Billy, the same way. Like, we're trying to build something that is can remember all your preferences, what kind of things you bet on, the teams you like, the bet types you like, all of that stuff, so that we can create this really sticky user experience for people, because it matters, right? Like, even think about just how you prompt ChatGPT. How annoying does it get if you feel like you have to start a new thread and reprompt all of that same context back in? You know what I mean? It's like, it's nuts. So I totally agree with you that those are the like key things that are going to make these apps the long-term winners. Who gets memory right and in the best way,
and who sells something besides your, like, every company that sells something great sells something besides their actual product, and I know, like, I know this is like probably like sore subject, but you made the comment about like NFTs, that like Starbucks can only sell so much for coffee, but you can sell this other thing. Nike sells a brand and a person, a feeling, and like all these different things. ChatGPT, I have a calendar organization that I've worked with it on that is helping me, that is making me more efficient than I've ever been in my life. Like, it helps me calendar out meetings, working out, family stuff, everything in one place. It doesn't integrate with my real calendar yet. I'm sure eventually it will, but it's like, I don't want to retrain someone else on this exact model that I like. I don't want to retrain someone else on my vitamin plan and things I've discussed. I don't want to it knows me and everything that I've discussed with it. And that memory feature is nice, because what you previously had to do is you would say at the bottom of your chat, remember this chat for other chats, and it would work and it would translate over. And so I think that like they're selling not like it's so hilarious because the product is so good it doesn't matter. But like what I think their advertising in the future needs to be is like the fact that you're not, it's the way Apple sells experiences and feelings. You need to sell what ChatGPT does for you and explain those features, because you talk about getting your claws in people and your grips in people. I'm fully like, to your point, like I go to another LLM, I'm starting over. It's a new friend, a new person, a new calendar organization, a new personal assistant, a new everything. I've got chats that I go back to regularly for food and, you know, discussions about like what I'm going to cook and all those things. Like it's very, very real. So, by the way, Diablito in the chat says ChatGPT should ask ChatGPT for naming suggestions, which is actually true.
That would actually be pretty funny. The also side note, Von Frunten says Silicon Valley watch party in the war room for the full 1 or 2 episodes a week. I think we should definitely do that. Yeah, it's a great point. I think that the other thing that I brought to talk about today is just like what some of these other companies are now doing to kind of follow suit here, right? Chris, I saw you share that. What was the example there?
So this is just the getting the top 3 stacks, top 3 starting pitchers. But this is like, I provided 3 sources. It thinks usually like a minute and a half. Today it thought for 2 minutes and 23 seconds. It reviewed, looking at what it spits out. It definitely got some of the data off the the sources I provided it. But then it also probably hit, because you can see it thinking where it's going. It probably hit another, I don't know, 12 sources to compile its full analysis on the slate.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and coming into last week, you hadn't played with O3 yet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now I'm in the group chat with you, and you're like O3 evangelist now.
Yep.
This really feels like an agent model, right?
Yeah.
Like that is what the power of like being able to reason and call tools does. Do you like that it calls other sources that you didn't ask, or no?
I'm going to say yes, because the results have been on point so far. So I've been doing it for about a week and trying to get my thoughts together on this, because it's like it's going to put fantasy analysts and sports, like I see this happening, like not in the DFS space specifically in sports betting. You know this, like there's a lot of data out there. Most of it is, the subscriptions are very expensive. It's not cheap. If you just want projections, you might be at $100 a month just for good projections. I see this like eliminating, like I'm not going to those sites anymore that I used to do every single day. Right now, it's just I'm going to my O3 chat here with ChatGPT and just saying, like, I don't even remind it. I don't say, hey, it's just, hey, here there's 2 slates today. I attached the 5 games, and I probably don't even have to attach the 5 games. I'm betting it would just figure that out by itself now. But yeah, I'm no longer a daily user of at least 3 daily fantasy sites. That is like that's going to happen throughout a lot more than just daily fantasy.
This is interesting to me though, because what happens, and I think about this a lot actually. Like, so again, I think this is a use case for Web3 blockchain AI crossover, right? Is like, what happens when those fantasy sites, because you aren't going there anymore, can't get the same revenue that they were either from subscriptions or site visits or whatever. Their incentive to publish that same data, which especially in sports, right? Like where we're talking about things that are happening new every day that need analysis and new data. Like what happens when that incentive goes away for them to do that? You have nowhere to mine with your agent, right? And so like I keep going back to like this blockchain case of well, you could get paid for that data in a way that, so like what if instead,
right? Like the era of non-AI companies putting out free content on the internet may be coming to an end. I haven't had this thought till just now. Does that,
or it's the opposite, right? Or it's the other way around, where the mechanism actually becomes you're putting the data, it becomes like pay for use in terms of like, all right, well, if you're gonna be able to tell like if an agent is hitting your site or a human is hitting your site, right? Like you can tell that stuff now. You can tell if bots are hitting your site versus humans, etc. Like, what if the model flips to, okay, you're a high agent traffic site, you're getting paid for being hit like you would for ad revenue or whatever, or like, you know, how a navigate works or whatever, where you're now or like BitTensor subnets, where you're contributing that data to being used and getting rewarded for it, rather than what feels now in the way of like kind of pirated slightly, right? And because your incentive to put out that new information will slowly dwindle over time as, you know, you lose subscriptions, you lose all of that kind of active eyeball, and it becomes just like agent to agent stuff. So I think about that a lot. I actually think it's going to become a problem for things like, you know, sports or news or whatever, where it's daily and new all the time, where it's like like historic research on, you know, case like law case precedents, different story, right? Like that is stuff you can go in archives for. It doesn't need to be new every single day. I don't know. I think about that a lot. I'm not really quite sure how it ends.
I'm not either. I'll share the whole tab just so you can see like this. My prompt was this: 2 slates today on Underdog. I attached the 5 games in the afternoon slate. Who do you like for your top 3 pitchers and top 3 stacks? So it doesn't just give me names. It tells me their opponent, the game over under, the weather, which is important. Again, that's one of the sites I sent it to. I didn't tell us to include this. It did it naturally because weather must be important, which it is. You know, you got to avoid rainouts, and if the wind's blowing out at 30 miles an hour, that's but the notes it takes, it's in the week. I've been using this for a week. Most of those fantasy sites, they're really good aggregators of data, right? And then they come up with some player takes based on that data. So does ChatGPT 03. And I don't think it's even that bold. It's already right now, and unless they go backwards again, it's probably the worst state it'll ever be. And it's already the most efficient aggregator on the internet.
Yeah. So now imagine packaging the model capability there with like really niched down apps or things, right? Like imagine Billy with the power of 03, with all your sports betting interest memories, the way you do things, the research you do every day. Imagine that thing, but really niche down. And I think that's where like app winners are going to come from, right? Because like, yes, you could generically go to ChatGPT and it has the capability and it can do it out of the box. You still need to kind of construct that. It needs to be something you use consistently. Like ChatGPT is never going to build you necessarily a sports betting assistant. However, somebody out there will harness the power of 03 because those models are available in API and build the really personalized thing that you want for the use case you need. That's going to be a lot less work. And I think that's what you're going to see like new apps and software and agents do, right? Like you're going to be able to use ChatGPT in the same way for a lot of things. And so, you know, the question is like, where's the moat? It's always, where's the moat? But I think like being able to create these really curated experience at a convenience level for people with this same power of, you know, tool use and reasoning and aggregating and whatever. Like now imagine if, Chris, you came to Billy, you spun up Billy, but Billy already knows essentially what all the highest value sites are, and it's already pre-programmed to go and scrape those. Well, ChatGPT, you're probably going to get a better or more accurate answer to what you were initially looking for, because the people building that thing have done the domain expertise work for you, right? Same with, you know, Watch Hunter Agent or whatever, right? It's like all the things that you do in silos in all of these chats you have will eventually kind of become their own apps, and ChatGPT will be kind of the general use thing for it, or like for any of those strategies. But you'll still probably crave some kind of like really unique user experience or features that ChatGPT just won't build for that thing because they're busy trying to build AGI, right? Like, so that's where I kind of see this stuff evolving into, well, how do businesses still exist, or what does the world of agents and software look like when ChatGPT can do a lot of the stuff? Curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go right into another question. Nick asked in the chat, talking about this memory, and he says, you're right, it's getting its claws in us. It's totally a deal breaker. Wonders if these AI tools will ever become commoditized to the point where we just click one button to export everything and then import it into a different AI if we want to switch back and forth. Some days maybe we want Coke, other days maybe we want Pepsi, but we will always want our historical conversation remembered so the information can be drawn upon. No, that would be the best user experience. I could see for obvious reasons why.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So like, okay, so that means for Nick, ChatGPT is not the best thing for the thing he's looking for, right? He wants something that might switch models based on the type of question he asks, or for, you know, maybe he wants image generation with not ChatGPT, right? Like and he wants, a different model for different things that based on the task or based on what he's trying to do in his own business. That exists, right? There's something called Open Router that will literally let you select a bunch of models for different use cases in your own apps. But somebody builds the app that allows you to do that, because ChatGPT is not going to why would they give up their moat of all your memories that you could go take to Google, right? It's like, the example I use with Billy a lot is like with price shopping, right? DraftKings is never going to direct you to FanDuel because there's a better price on something. It's the same thing here. I doubt Sam Altman's going to let you export all your memory contexts to go play with Gemini, but there's somebody out there that's going to build you a personal assistant agent app that's bespoke for maybe the industry that you're in, that will auto switch models for different parts of the use case or different stacks or different tasks, right? Like there's probably a world in which you might chat with GPT 4.5, but to do a complex math problem, you'd want O3, and like there's got to be something made that can dynamically switch between them. And even just from company to company, I think that's true as well. So that's kind of a perfect example of what I was just talking about, right? It's like you're not going to be able to pick up everything from ChatGPT and put it into Claude. They won't want you to do that. They're going to want to give you the full suite there.
So great question from Saucier to follow up with this. Are the different models geared towards different results, use cases? They are. How does someone know what to use what for? What's like their, okay, it's getting more models coming. It's more confusing than ever before. How do I know which one to use?
Yeah, I think that's why I brought these ranking leaderboard things today, is because I have been feeling the same thing, right? It's like, what models do I use for what things? If you go to this like Vellum leaderboard, right, you can compare them by task, right? So like best in reasoning. Okay, so now I've got a list of the top 5 reasoning models on this leaderboard and what their scores are. Okay, well, now I know the top 5 reasoning models. What's the most cost-efficient one for the best bang for my buck, right? So then you can go down here and you can select, all right, let's see, what were they there? Or 4.0, what was it? There's 03 and 04 mini are on here. Let's just use both of them. If they're both on this list. Yep, 03 and 04 mini. And so now right here, you can compare them side by side. So they're both top 5 in reasoning, but you want to know, okay, well, that's great. So which one should I use if I want a less cost? And right here, you can see that 04 mini, while slightly worse on reasoning score, right? You got an 81.4% here. You got an 83.3%. So you're talking 1.9% difference, but the cost is 10x. Not like 03 is 10x the cost of 04 mini. So right there, you've just done in 2 minutes a pretty in-depth analysis on like which model you should use for a reasoning task and why, right? Like if you were partial OpenAI, or you could do, what was the top one on here? It was Grok 3. Interesting. So then you could say, all right, well, I want something a little more powerful, but I can't pay $40 for a million token output. Let's see if let's see how Grok 3 compares, right? So let's see, are these in alphabetical order? Like I would expect them to be, yep. Okay, so no cost here on Grok 3. So this probably just hasn't updated yet, but this is how I would do it, right? So what is the task? So do I need reasoning? I'll go look at those. Do I need something specifically for math? Do I need something for coding? And then you can compare these costs and prices. Same thing here with the chatbot arena. What I like about that one is that you can see, so those are pretty easy graphics just to go look at, right? Then in the LLM arena here, you've got kind of, okay, these are the best, highest ranking for language. So this is just language, right? Then you've got kind of an overview of all of them, and then another price analysis thing here. This they do like more scatter plot style, but you can see. Then they do vision, text to image, Copilot, search, and they rank them by all of these things. And then you can do kind of price comparison on all of them. I thought there was a way to actually talk to these. So I think the battle here, you can actually, this is why I like this. So you can select two models and prompt them against each other and kind of compare their responses as well. So you can kind of get a vibe check too on like, oh, okay, I think I want this one.
Are they APIing in, and are they paying every time they do one of these?
Yeah, so I think that this might be hosted by Hugging Face or someone is I forget exactly how these guys do this, but yes, like Open Router, same thing, right? Like they're like passing through API stuff for you. I don't know if you actually you don't have to put your keys in here. I think this is free to use, but yeah, so then there's just all kinds of metrics you can look at here. And I think it's important because like you said, there's different models for different tasks at different costs. And so picking the right thing for what you're trying to do is important.
I have a tactical question based on the conversation earlier related to your company, where you talk about, like, I started thinking about, like, you talk about the purpose of models, and I look at what Cap's doing. Is one very tactical question. Is Billy Betts going to introduce like a player rankings in the daily fantasy streets? And is that something you're working on for next year?
So funny. So Cap and I were actually talking about this the other day. We were texting back and forth on it. And our marketing guy, Clay, I'm not sure if he's listening today. He sent me this big long thing the other day about how he wanted to use Billy for Best Ball Mania and things like that. So we're definitely going to figure out a way to incorporate all that stuff in there. I think there's this really interesting opportunity for Billy to create his own content in that way as well. So, you know, imagine the type of output Chris just put in a, 5-minute daily podcast, right? Or that is spoken with a voice that we give Billy or whatever, kind of like my automated Firebrain podcast from months ago. But like, imagine that same thing, but with this part already done for you.
You haven't seen yet, but you've got requests to bring it back, by the way.
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that. That's so funny. I mean, I probably should. I have it all built.
It says, listening to Joe makes me miss Firebrain AI. Are you thinking of bringing it back at some point?
It's funny. So I've actually am working with somebody, Frank from Navigate. We're working on kind of reviving a community like that in a way too. Also, side note, Firebrain. So with Firebrain, we did a bunch of stuff in like make.com. We did a bunch of like make.com workflows and things. And I would call those platforms like make.com, Zapier, N8N, Lindy AI. They're all kind of like these no code, low code AI automation platforms, or just automation platforms that have over time introduced, AI capabilities. So you can call LLMs. And that's kind of where we were when I stopped doing it back in like August or whenever like November when I came on to Billy. But now they've all introduced the ability to kind of no code build agents. So not just agentic workflows, actual agents that you can build flows to like think over something based on a task or use a bunch of different tools. So those platforms have way leveled up in terms of what you can build there in an agent perspective, like a true agent perspective, rather than just kind of an agentic workflow perspective. So if you haven't checked those out and you don't know how to code and you haven't gotten deep into the vibe coding streets, check out these, no code, low code platforms like Zapier, Make, N8N, Lindy. You can build agents there that can use tools that can do reasoning. You just plug and play your models in there. So really great way I would recommend for people get started trying to build their own agents. Like now have the ability to kind of give a memory from a database in those platforms as well. So I'm going to try to build my wife like a little family app because I'm the worst at remembering all of our schedules and things. So like a chat app that we could just dump things into and remember and ask and all that kind of stuff. And so just like fun little side project stuff that you could kind of get some experience building these things for without having to know how to code, I think is important. So just a side note, I've been kind of deep in those streets looking at what's available in this past week or so. So yeah, but the idea that it could create content around, player level data, it could aggregate all this stuff from the internet and package it for you proactively. Like I see a world, Steve, of like the thing you just mentioned, but hyper personalized, right? So like, let's go back to the memory example, right? It's like you give me once, you tell me who's on your one, or maybe once a week or whatever, tell me who's on your fantasy team. And every morning you've got a personalized podcast about player news from your team and Chris's team and somebody else's team and somebody else's team, right? Because the problem with content in that space now is it has to be blanket. You have to cover every player because everybody's got some different combination of lineups. But when you listen to something like a fantasy podcast, yeah, you're getting like general news across the league, but like what you're really listening for is like an opinion on your guys or people that are available in your league. Like how many waiver wire episodes do you hear of where they're like, yeah, these are based on 50% owned in all these leagues. And they give you a guy that's been off of your waivers because you're in a sharper league since week 1. And you're like, okay, well, I just wasted all of this time. But instead, if it knew about you and your players and your league, and you can get delivered personalized content like that, I think that's a home run. And I think that's like where content in these types of spaces should be getting looked at from like how you can use AI to leverage this stuff. It's not enough just to aggregate data anymore. It's got to be personalized.
See, I think like, I don't know, and this is probably like, I don't know, business models or anything. I'm just thinking of it from an attention perspective, but I think what's really interesting to me about Billy is that personalized model obviously is something that is like super sellable and important. What I think is an interesting potential for something like Billy, though, is even like we just had the draft. Like, imagine if Billy had done analytics on every single team and told you this is what and who they should draft based on this. And suddenly the way that Polymarket gets put into CNN and Fox News and all these other things, I could see a world where Billy is like a sports data point that people say, well, Billy Betts disagrees with you, Skip Bayless. And he's like, oh, no, Billy's in it. Like, I could see that being a real thing because you're basically, and then like you get clowned by people who say Manalytics over analytics. And like, you could be the analytics department for all of sports on top of the betting lines and being like, look, like, based on our data, we'll tell you exactly who the Cleveland Browns should have taken or who the, Titans should have taken or whatever and what their need is. And I could see that work because I think the personalized betting data and personalized daily fantasy data, totally agree with all that. But the additional content you could create, like you have the opportunity to be like more right than the pros over and over again, the way you did in March Madness, but on a grand scale on everything, like what are the top things that everybody in sports is always talking about and just make some, model around it. And every time it just gets smarter. Whereas like, again, Mel Kiper Jr. studies the film. He's great. He has a certain level of experience, but there's a plateau and a personal bias that exists in all of his analysis that will always be there. John Gruden never met a quarterback he didn't like. Billy Betts is going to get smarter every time it does a draft analysis. So if you just start inputting data and being like, what were the needs? Did they do them? Did it work? Did it not work? Like, you could be like the smartest platform on all things sports in that way that I think nobody's really quite thinking about that way.
Yeah, I love this idea. And Cap, I just shared to kind of complement your idea, Steve, is like Billy put out a thread on the Kentucky Derby, right? And so like he's got his Kentucky Derby analysis in here in a Twitter thread. He gives you, he gives you all kinds of analysis on who the fastest horses are, what he thinks it's going to be a speed race. He's got, he talks about, the best horse in the race by far is journalism, but there's not a ton of value at the price. So then he goes and looks at, all right, well, if I was looking for value, where is it? And he identifies, Rodriguez at 12-1. He says, don't get trapped playing Citizen Bowl. He talks about, here's the best bet on the board, Burnham Square to win or show, or to place or show. And he gives a bunch of different analysis here on horses, right? And so like, this is all based on research and data that he's pulled together and done. So just like you were talking about, right? And so now imagine like, and I think this is a good demonstration, your question or your statement you just put together. He even gives you, by the way, a trifecta box here to play. So there you go, Cap. Fire it up for $1 each. And
I got to run back. I'm obligated.
So just to like demonstrate your point there, Steve, like what Virtuals is building with their ACP, which is their agent commerce protocol, what Google just introduced with their like agent to agent communications, and like what Visa and MasterCard is just introducing with like the ability to give agents or ways for people to pay agents. Like you can imagine a world in which Billy is doing exactly what you just said, right? It's like Billy's the data aggregator, Billy's the analyst, Billy's analyzing all these thousands and hundreds of millions of data points or whatever, packaging it, but building an opinion on it, building a model over it, and then outputting that data as something that other companies could tap into, other agents could use, and Billy could be paid for, all of that kind of stuff. And I do think that that's where like the world is headed. You're building these things that can do, analyze millions of data points and form an opinion that just is more accurate based on the data than a human could. And that's valuable, and it can be shared and bought from these agents. And that's the world that we're headed to. And I think that's what we're going to eventually try to accomplish as well.
Major like tipping point and opportunity for Billy, I think, comes at exactly like when Billy has a thread that is so counterintuitive to the traditional like media opinions. Like when Billy comes out and says, I'll use an idea, a 1-2, like when I'm making it up, like I'm just for funsies. It's like Appalachian State actually has a better chance to beat Michigan than you think. Yada, like that sort of thing happens. And then it's right.
Dude, we almost got it. Oh, we almost got it for March Madness. He picked UConn to upset Florida and go to the championship game. And so like the crazy thing with that was obviously Florida won the national championship. So just on that one singular data point, it looks like an idiotic thing. But when you actually analyze it, UConn, first of all, could have won that game. That was the closest game Florida played in the entire tournament, right? The winner of the tournament came out of that field, and like UConn gave them the run for the money. So
there's a reason Danny Hurley was yelling in the tunnel. Remember that? He was like, he said to the other coach coming in, don't let these refs fuck you like they did to us. Remember that?
Yeah, dude. And it was so like we almost got that thing, and it was really close to happening. And I totally agree with you. When that happens, because it will happen, it'll happen at some point, right? Like, especially I think with these larger events, right? Like the Kentucky Derby is a great example, right? It's like, all right, if Billy picks a Kentucky Derby winner, or like event-based things that are that have long shots like golf or futures or whatever, where it's like, all right, if Billy's analyzing now for the Super Bowl, and he's got a future on, some team that's really not on the radar right now, and that happens, or they go far and he builds equity in that position, like that is super. I agree with you. That's where things like this get awareness, right?
Yeah, that's where the money happens, I think, because I think that's because that's what's interesting to me about this concept is that you are a sports fan at heart, and like you obviously like the gambling aspect of it as well, and that's super what you're into, but like the applications of what you're doing and the way you can build actual like right now the betting segment, obviously you want to do that extremely well. That's what Billy does extremely well, but like the idea of taking that betting content and building it onto like traditional sports content, like that's like you could have an entire show where like, Billy predicts or Billy's calls or something where people literally go down a rundown of like 10 things Billy predicts for that weekend or that week in the NFL schedule that are like off the rocker or seem crazy, and then recheck them at the end of the day. And like you could have an entire content and show around that with human beings analyzing it and being right or wrong or agreeing or why. Like you could talk about like, well, Billy really likes the Jazz for this reason. And like you have these things that are these nuggets that I think once it hits this level of discoverability, like once a major sports, like once Colin Cowherd or whoever it is, like notices this thing, like Colin Cowherd never, but like the point is like once a person who's actually a Nick Wright, whoever notices this and like, I agree with this, like, or look at this, I think the sky is the limit. It just takes that one tipping point of like someone noticing it. And then you just have an off to the races. I know it's not intentionally a content company, but like it is kind of.
No, it totally is. I think a lot of the, I think, I've said this for a while, like back to when we were doing Starbucks and things like that, like every company is a content company now. Right. And it's just like, how do you create the content that is like, we're still in the building the thing phase. And then the next phase is building the content from the thing, right? Like that's where this is going. And I agree with you, right? It's like, it's another reason of like why agents, where this thing can be on all the time. It could be built almost like a data feed. It could be on demand accessed. It could be, it doesn't have to worry about what's my schedule to be pulled up on First Take today or do an interview or whatever, right? Like it could just be doing those things all the time. And so if you can build something that actually really surfaces valuable insights and alpha, like sports betting is a really interesting field for something like this to demonstrate with, because we're actually picking things that have measurable binary outcome, right? And it's like, okay, well, is Billy winning or losing? And that's going to determine how credible I think it is right now. And I do think over time, Billy's going to win, right? You're still building that phase. We're still building that capability into him, right? But once it does, that's the attention driver. It's like, oh, look at this thing that's kicking ass on all of these sports. Oh, by the way, it thinks this, this, and this. Let's see what happens, right? And so I think that's kind of, we're still like really early in that part of the journey. I think it'd be interesting, like if you didn't have the sports betting aspect to it, building the credibility, I think would be a lot harder, because you have to, like, it's no different than any other talking head. You have to give it something measurable to be right or wrong about, right? And like, who knows? Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe Billy becomes the fucking fade machine, right? And it's like you're talking about it because it's like
Kramer.
It's like Book It Trent, right? Where it's like you see he's on something, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have been on it. And who knows? Maybe that is what ends up happening. But there's value in that too, right? Like, I'll give you a crazy thing that we could shut it down soon, but this was interesting. Cap, what do you think is more profitable? If you were to be able to tail or auto trade or auto copy the top 20 most profitable bettors, or by ROI, not by dollars, by ROI, or the bottom 20 bettors by ROI?
What do you mean? Which,
like, if you just had to be on the same side as the top 20 most profitable ROI bettors or the bottom 20 most negative ROI bettors, which would give you a return? You'd be the opposite, obviously. You'd be fading the bottom 20.
Right. And I'd be following the top 20.
Fading the bottom 20 would give you more return than copying the top 20.
Oh, I got you. So doing the opposite of the bottom 20 better than doing copying the top.
I was guessing that was
Would
the answer
return
based on you
more-
asking the question. That's like
would
a
return
yeah.
more money, would return more ROI than, yeah. Isn't that crazy to think about? I mean, it makes logical sense, but it's kind of crazy. It's counterintuitive to think about. So like we just pulled all this blockchain data and we're like, oh, I wonder which is more profitable. And so like now, I mean, think of this, that like where Billy's going is he's going to use all this blockchain data to be building these own kind of aggregated models and being able to kind of surface this new kind of sports betting alpha, right? That like the common person isn't even thinking about or really maybe even knows exists, right? So stuff like that. And I think that's really interesting, and where not just Billy, but like AI can make a real impact from an analytics standpoint, an alpha surfacing standpoint, an opinion standpoint, right? Like, so yeah, anyway.
I love that. Anything else we missed? This is like this is the discussions. I love when we go deep on this stuff because I'm so fascinated where it's going. Anything else we missed on AI related today though?
Almost the only other thing which was totally related to kind of everything we touched on with like the memories and the, you know, user experiences and stuff. Everybody's going the app route, right? So Gemini just released their Gemini has an app, but now in the Gemini app, you can Gemini app's cool. If you haven't downloaded it, I would, but you can now upload and edit images directly in the Gemini app. So Cap, maybe give this one a try and see if it was better for your specific need. So I don't know if you saw this, Cap, though, when we were talking about the image thing. Did you see this? It was going around, got kind of viral on Twitter today about, or the other day about, like, it took a picture that somebody uploaded and it said, recreate the same picture, don't change anything. And it did it like, you know, 100 times. And it was like, well, but it changed, the image changed so much from the original one, right? So, and I think that's like a key clue into like how OpenAI does that, like what their model does. It actually tries to just recreate it slightly different from the original image, right? Recursively.
Yeah, editing an image, it's actually recreating an image. Right,
which is why you got such a close but not quite response when you were trying to do the image of the dog, right, with the leash and stuff, right? So I thought that was interesting. But here it seems like you can more directly edit an image. But yeah, so apps are becoming the thing for these big models. They're trying, or these big companies, they're trying to get you into this user experience. The other one is that I thought was interesting. So Meta just released their own standalone app as well. You can do all kinds of things in there. It's primarily built towards like voice based. So that's like the key way. They're actually putting in this social layer into it where you can kind of see people share their creations and prompts and all that kind of stuff. You can control the Meta AI glasses in there. And then there was this whole interview that he did about like AI companionship and stuff, which I thought was just really funny way he described it. He was talking about how people use AI a lot for companionship. And he's like, you know, the average person in the study we did says they have 3 friends. And then the next line was, and it shows they have demand for up to 15. And I was like, that is a very weird way to describe friends, right? Like, oh, I have demand for more friends.
Robot Zuck.
Yeah, it's so funny. Which, you know, he's trying really hard. He was on Theo Vaughn, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, but that's it. Apps, memories, user experience, agents, all that kind of stuff, and how to rank your models and choose the right stuff.
Nice.
Love it.
Very cool. No, it's like, this is cool. Like, this is I don't know. It's fun being part of the process too, and knowing like this is the part that I love about this. I'll kind of end on this one. It's just like, I love being able to be like, hey, like, we're seeing ChatGPT screw up in real time and fix it. And I don't know. I think that's fun to be part of. So I enjoy the process. So, I
mean, even these labs are building in public, right? Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's cool to see and appreciate the build doors. So No, man, appreciate you as always. Like good stuff today, and really truly enjoy these conversations each and every week. So thank you for continuing to show up for us.
Cool, guys. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Right on.
Oh, wait. One thing.
Yes.
So are you going to Consensus?
No, probably not, just based on some family stuff. I considered it, but why? Are you going now?
Well, one, I'm going, right? So that's
shit, I should have gone now.
14th through 16th of May. However, Consensus this year, not in Austin, it is in Toronto. So, you know who else lives up that way? Chamber.
Oh no. Okay, now I might need to get a ticket after all.
We might have the first ever Bunchu Chamber in-person meeting after all of these years happening at Consensus. So I thought you guys would find that funny and interesting. So
that's incredible. It's only like what, a decade in the making at this point?
Yeah, we'll actually probably just need to fly Payne up just to be the content creator for the week and just videotape the entire interaction and the embrace that happens in the Cracker Barrel parking lot.
That's amazing. No, we were talking about it. I was debating, and it's like my daughter has like a choir concert that night. So basically what would happen is I would need to probably, and there's no apparently good flights to get to Toronto from Cleveland, even though it's right there. So I would probably end up driving from my daughter's choir concert to like Buffalo, stay the night there, drive to my hotel in Toronto, stay there, and then go to Consensus for the few days. And I'm like, I don't know if this is worth it. Like, if I really want to do it, like part of me wants to, and I don't know, part of me doesn't. So I guess, I don't know, maybe I'll do it though. If you're going to be there and you're potentially in Chamber is potentially going to be in the flesh, maybe this is the move. I don't know. I'll have to reconsider now.
I don't know if he'll actually like be going to any events. It'll just be for us to meet up probably, but yeah, so let me know if you end up going. But anyway, I just thought you'd find that funny because we've never met in almost 8 years, and this might be it in a couple weeks.
No, that's amazing. So yeah, report back if we don't hear between now and then about if it's exactly what you thought and everything you thought over.
I actually have to do a wellness check on him after the Lakers last night. I don't even know if he's what's going on there, but that's crazy. But anyway, all right, guys, thank you so much.
So
Appreciate
cool.
you.
See you.
Bye.
Good stuff as always.
Yeah, I did see Aaron jumped up on stage. I don't know if you saw that. Running a little long here today, but do we have just a couple minutes? Aaron can do at least a high level.
Yeah, a couple minutes. I need to jump out by 10:30 because Thursday is my crazy day. But yeah, let's do that.
Aaron, GM, I don't know if you caught it earlier. Steve and I both opened the show today complaining about our group chats and our XDMs, and he mentioned that one of the ones he had missed was a DM from you, and I said, "Oh, I bet I have a missed one too." And sure enough, it's in there. So my apologies. You were not being ignored, but appreciate you plowing through.
I'm used to being ignored. It's okay. Look, I get it. You guys are superstars now.
We're not.
You have
though.
sponsors.
We don't even have a good.
You're
we don't have good
big
excuses.
apes, and me. You know what am I? I get it. I would ignore my own DMs too.
We're very poor at leaving group chats is our problem.
It doesn't matter how much you guys hate me. I will never hate you. I always love you guys, no matter how much you ignore me. It's totally fine. I'm just kidding with you, obviously. By the way, today is my 4-year Board Ape Yacht Club minting anniversary.
Same. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you too. No, I'm like a vampire. You know, like I'm not one of those. I should be better. And here's what I mean. I don't just jump on stages and try to force information. Right? I don't want to do that. Yeah, I think it's uncouth, unscrupulous. It's gross. I don't like it. Maybe I should be grosser. I don't know. But I was like, well, they didn't say I can come up. I'm not gonna. That was my thought.
My what we shared with everyone this morning. If you ever send us a DM, I'll speak for Steven. We're not getting back to you. Comment, tag us in this show. Like Be Epic did today. Said, "Hey, Cap, sent you DM," and went back. And I'm making excuses. I need to get better. But yeah, if you're ever looking for a response from it, just say, hey, drop your DM, drop it in the chat, and that serves us a reminder to go hunt it down. Assuming that the Twitter DM search actually allows us to find you. That's another story I won't.
Twitter DM search is awful. Awful. All right. Anyway, so yeah, AIP 346 comedy shows. We're gonna have the 7th show today, 3 p.m. Pacific time in the Diviverse Discord, link in my bio. And one person who goes is going to win 1,000 ApeCoin. Because at this point in my comedy career, I must offer people 1,000 ApeCoin to come and watch my comedy shows.
I've attended the show and you didn't pay me anything to get there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, $1,000 to show up and get a laugh or two. That's or 1,000 ape. That's not a bad deal.
I was gonna say I wish it was $1,000, but you hold on to it, maybe it will be. Right now, I think I haven't checked this morning, and I don't want to. The other thing is one of the reasons why we're doing the show today is because it's the Dolls Mint, the STK Dolls Mint, and I have to commend you guys. Some of our best community members have told us that they heard about STK when I came on your show.
Awesome.
And so we appreciate that. And so the mint is today. There's 3 phases to it,
So,
and
yeah, by the way-
STK dolls. They're gonna make babies. One of the best ape chain collections been out there. I think both our collections so far, Trashy Treasure Boxes and STKs, are in, if not the top 3, they're in the top 5 of all-time grossing ape chain collections. And thank you very much, Ape Chain people.
That's awesome.
And we would love for you guys to join our community today. And for every 10 that are minted, we send you an STK as well, so that they can make babies together.
Interesting. But we got to give some flowers to Diablito, who just dropped his in the chat. And one of the first GM posts we got in the chat this morning was BT Dwayne.
BT Dwayne told me
Yep.
about what you guys said. He's also one of my friends from the community and is a great community member. Great dude.
Yep. He talked about that mint today, happening on Believer. And what are all the details around it? What are those that want to get in? What do they need to know? You said, what time did you say the mint starts?
The mint starts at 11 a.m. First of all, the big thing you need to know is that there are 2 early phases that if you're just hearing about the mint, you cannot mint in unless you DM me your wallet address. Now, I do have a thing where it's only verified people can DM me, so just like tag me in a comment if you can't DM me, and I will add you. Yeah, there's Dr. Monica. She told us that she found out about SDK from you. So just tag me, get me your wallet address. I will add you on to our trash list, which is the OG phase, the first phase. There are 55, but don't let that fool you, because our community were able to pre-mint about just under 1,500 of them. They were able to create their own dolls. We had a 2-week experience where they could pick their own traits, create them, reserve them, and they'll be airdropped, those dolls, once we reveal or soon thereafter. So the mint is really about right under, I think it's right under 4,000. It is 36 ape, which is actually less than half the price of the original, not in ape, but in dollars. And this is an all-women collection. The SDKs are all dudes. These are all women. The art is by John Winchell, who has been doing Bored Ape Yacht Club commissions since 2021. And the team is run by myself and my partner, Ernest Lee, both apes. It's an ape-run project. And this is like phase 2 out of maybe phase 3 or 4. And so there's always a lot going on in the world of SDK. Plus, you get a divvy, which means that each week, just for holding an unlisted asset, we drop you ApeCoin, depending on the volume of sales. So excellent art, amazing team. Team spends money on the project. They just spend, I can't tell you how much, but they spend a bunch of money on that STK pre-mint. And fucking great community. It's a good time.
I love what you're doing with Divi, and we talked about the experimenting on Ape Chain, and I just appreciate looking to innovate and do things differently, and work with your community to reward them along the way. It is appreciated, and I'm getting excited by seeing more and more of new innovation, doing some things differently. And I know we talked about Divi previously, but anything like, I know Steve's got to get out of here soon too, but anything the 30 seconds on Divi and what that's doing?
30 seconds on Divi is that we care about creators and collectors, and we want a way for creators to be able to monetize and collectors to be able to monetize without just having to sell their assets. We came up with the Divi, which means division. And so if you are in one of our Divi projects, and there are more than just STK and dolls, then if you hold an unlisted asset, and some projects do different gamified experiences, you don't have to stake, you don't do anything. We just drop you ApeCoin, a division of a certain percentage of the royalties. Some projects do 50%, other like Genesis did 100%, and you just sit there and boom, ApeCoin hits your wallet from doing that. You're part of the experience, and it's basically just a licensing deal where we utilize your IP in like a Good Morning or something, and maybe we don't even, but the fact that we can, you get Ape in your wallet, and the dollars will be eligible for the divvy as well. And I dare say divvy in the first week of a project is always pretty nice.
Awesome. Good stuff. Is there anything we didn't ask today you wanted to share since we brought you up for the lightning round to close out the show?
No, I'll come back at some point. I'll just DM you guys and, come back whenever I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I'll come back at some point. You guys are always very generous with your time. And that's really it. I mean, we have so many collections that we're working with. I would say just come into the Diviverse, into the Discord, get to know us, get to know all of our partner projects. If you're looking for active community that looks to actively reward the community, active team, great art, etc., Diviverse are your friends. And Cap, Steve, always appreciate you. And like us OGs have been around for a while. You guys have carved out an excellent position in the Web3 world, and we're trying to do the same thing with the Diviverse. I appreciate you guys giving me the time.
Appreciate you very much. Thanks for jumping up to give us the deets. And yeah, we will be better about that in the future. Bad job out of us, and appreciate you, sir. And looking forward to everything you're doing.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
Right on. Yeah, Cap. But good stuff. Appreciate Aaron as always. He's a real one. He's trying to build real things along with real people and real friends on a real chain. It's very cool to see all of that unfolding. So appreciate him very much. Any cleanup from the show or anything we missed that you want to hit on?
There's a few, but I know you got to hear that boop.fun stimmy, or the airdrop, I believe, is live. Looks like some challenges. Saw Dingling says he's scaling server. Stay tuned. So just make sure you're checking official links. Be careful out there. And I pinned a couple posts from check up top from Aaron if you want more info on those details. Topic for conversation for tomorrow, not exactly crypto or AI related, but I do believe it will have an impact regarding the Apple tax. Epic finally won a 4-year plus battle with Apple. And I gotta remind me, I think we mentioned Morgan Stanley turning on crypto trading in the next 12 months. Also, while we're on the show, Charles Schwab, CEO, came out and said they also are going to turn on spot trading for Bitcoin and crypto trading within the next 12 months. So 2 pretty major financial institutions getting in the crypto game, announcing they're getting in it today, Steve. And awesome. AI market cap doubled in the last 2 weeks. So things are certainly heating up, and more so than price action on the memes and majors. These are major moves from Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Visa, MasterCard. Like, any one of these announcements would have sent the entire space into a frenzy in 2021. We got 4 in a day, and it's just like, those are like flyover news items. Like, it's just exciting time to be here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good time to be here. I feel like we are headed in the right direction with a lot of this stuff, and it's yeah, I feel like it's all happening, man. And I'm excited to I'm excited to see where it ultimately where it ultimately nets out. But yeah, the traditional houses turning this on, it was just a matter of time. And again, the more it's turned on, the more legitimate it becomes. So I could definitely see a lot that could come from this. But that said, Cap, let's let everyone sail off into their day. Good show this morning. Solid Friday show coming up tomorrow, as always. I know we left some topics on the cutting room floor, so we'll hit on those tomorrow. Thanks to everyone who came through. We will talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.